2 minutes of the drive, I'm like blacking out. I'm like screaming, punching shit. Like I'm just in this pain. I'm like, something's not right. So we were like hauling ass to the hospital. And by the time I get to the hospital, I fall to the floor and like I'm kind of blacking out. And she said that. I looked her in the eyes like, I don't want to die. So I told her.
But as you're going through it, you're not like, it's a taste of my own medicine. You're just like, fuck everybody.
How easy or hard is it to get geared as like a young kid?
Yeah. Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Totem Podcast, where an act, rebellion is to question. I'm your host, Monico, and of course,
we got Eric here. Yeah, I'm your other co-host. But guys, as always, remember, you gotta click subscribe to, be subscribed to the channel. That way you can be notified every single time we got a new video up. And like always, like we're on all the other podcast platforms too. So like Apple, Google, Spotify, and all that stuff. We're on there too, so check us out. And if you guys like today's guest, give this video a thumbs up and comment down below what your thoughts are. But guys, appreciate you guys joining us for another episode.
Yeah, so the guest we have today, he's a great guest, special guest, because like me and Eric, fitness has been huge in our lives. We're not completely jacked like this guy. It doesn't seem like it. But it's been a big changer for us. So, Logan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Glad to be here, man. So, yeah, fitness is it. You guys looking pretty good. I mean, you can
better
there.
Yeah.
If you would have seen me like fucking 2 years ago, completely different fucking person.
Good, man.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew like Eric before. Like, so how much did you get up to, Eric?
320. I was up to 320. Now I'm sitting around like just under 250.
250.
I mean, down 70 pounds.
How tall are you?
6'2".
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Dude, good for you, man.
And it was just like the whole like college experience, just like new environment, new fucking people, new situations. So I was like just ballooned up, and then I was like, fuck,
320.
Gotta fucking change some shit. Once I stepped on the scale, I saw 320. I was like, nah, gotta fucking change something.
Yeah, I'm trying to get up to 230 right now. It's hard.
I'll sell you some pounds. I'm trying to get down to
Give me some, yeah.
Yeah, but you're trying to get a muscle, I'm guessing. Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to have fat to build muscle, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it works. Actually, I've never even bulked in my life before. And this is the first year that I'm doing it. And as I'm reading, it's like you have to, I never knew this, but you have to build, for every pound of muscle you build, as you're bulking, you have to build at least 2 or 3 pounds of fat.
Okay.
So it's like a 2-to-1 ratio, a 3-to-1 ratio. So it's like you have to pack on that fat. And I'm the guy that's always been like shredded, so it's like, it's really hard for me to wake up in the morning and look and like, oh man, I'm losing my abs,
Yeah.
It's pretty hard, but I mean, I'm trying, because I want to do another competition, and they said my lats weren't big enough, my legs weren't big enough. So I'm like, oh.
How was your recent competition? How'd you do?
Dude, I did good. I placed 3rd and 4th out of like 400 people. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I didn't. You have to get 1st and 2nd to qualify for nationals. So I was right there.
Right on the doorstep.
Yeah, but I came in. I was natural actually for this show. We'll get to it, but I had my heart attack, right? So since then, I haven't really touched gear. I did some SARMs for this show, which my doctor put me on, which I tried out, and I don't even know if that really worked because I was grinding my ass off the entire time. But I did it natural, so I was stepping on a stage with like on an unnatural show, and I was like, fuck, I'm gonna be stepping up on a stage with all these dudes on gear, and yeah, there was a bunch of big dudes there, but I came in definitely like top 3 for like most shredded, like being the most shredded. Like what is it? Yeah, just being the most lean, like out of all the people. So
Give me a little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. But before we dive into all that, tell us a little bit about your childhood, your upbringings, how that was like in your household and stuff like that. Because you have a really interesting story, and I don't want to just like skim over it, that other stuff.
Yeah, so a lot of people want to hear how I ended up why I'm here is because of my heart attack and my drug addiction. Like I said, to start from the childhood, like you brought up, that's kind of just a good way of putting it. Because I had a therapist meeting, and I really didn't put all 2 and 2 together until I had this therapist meeting. But
how long was that ago that you did the therapy?
About a year ago. I went to a therapist and really sat down and talked with her, and it just opened up my mind. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Just to clarify, my parents are great parents. They're awesome parents. Nothing's wrong. They're really good parents now. I mean, they could change some things, but everybody's just human. But when I was younger, I'm a mistake baby, of course, right? So just like at a bar, hook up. Dad really didn't like my mother. It was just a hookup. So that right there off the bat just set it off, you know, probably not going to be a good childhood. They lasted for about 6 years. About 6 years, because they had my sister and she was 3 when they left. I was 6 when they divorced. My mother ended up being a drug addict, dating a bunch of abusive men. And my dad, on the other hand, was like too busy working his ass off, like 50, 60 hours a week, you know, never seeing him. So I grew up with my mother for the most part. Tons of leniency, you know, if you're you know, being raised by a drug addict, you never see your parent. And then with her abusive boyfriends, you know, like just beating the shit out of me. So that kind of went on for a while. My dad started pulling his head out of his ass, started like, you know, getting a little bit more time. I've been seeing him like every other weekend at this point, probably around like 12 or 13 years old, to where I started actually understanding what's going on. He started helping me work for him, of course, like he's just all about work. So I'd see him on the summers and work for him at like 12 or 13 years old. We'd have a bunch of talks. And one day he was just like, you know, I want you to go home and check your mother's dresser and see if there's like a glass, you know, if there's glass on there and see what you see. Just tell me what you see. So I did, you know, not really knowing what I'm looking for, but I told him and I was like, yeah, there's white specks of dust, you know, on a glass thing on her dresser. And then he called the cops, you know, and brought him over there and had me taken away at the age of 13 because of drug use. It was kind of my choice to leave at that time. It broke my mother's heart. I think that kind of like put it in perspective, like she needs to straighten her act together. Not right then and there, because she still was kind of messing up as I left for a couple of years. But that brings me on to like living with my father, going into 13.
Oh, real quick before that, you said it was like a choice to leave. So did they like give you a choice if you wanted?
Because
you're probably
for the most part, yeah, they gave me like a choice, because it wasn't like the cops came in and raided the house. You know, it was like the cops came to the door and was like, hey, we heard some things and we want to see if your son needs to come with us or not. You know, like this is just like, you know, it's just a checkup. You know, my dad was standing there, so like, of course I left. I like, you know, 13-year-old brain, you're not really thinking. You're just like, okay, let's just go, whatever. My dad was like kind of being my best friend at the time. I never really saw him or grew up with him, so I was like, oh, I want to get to know my father. But so yeah, like that goes into like leaving my mother and living with my father. You go from this drug addict life of never seeing your parent, getting abused, and like having to fend for yourself and having all this freedom, like tons of freedom as a kid, and then going to live with my father. And this guy is like, you're gonna sit down and you're gonna write for like a spelling bee, you know. It's like you're gonna write each word 1,000 times until you get it right, and you're gonna pass every grade 100%. And it worked. And you never let me have my friends, my freedom. Like every summer, you have your vacation summer from school. He'd shut it off. You know, like he'd be like, "You're not going out with friends. You're gonna sit here and work. You're gonna earn your shit. You're gonna buy your clothes. You're gonna buy your car. You're gonna earn everything you get. You know, earn. That's kind of how he was raised. So he's gonna raise me the same way. So to go from one extreme to the other was like just
complete opposite.
Yeah, it was just like a lot. You know, it's like leniency, strict. You know, and well. After a while, you know, I guess it was just too much. I was like begging for like the last 2 weeks as a childhood to go hang out with my friends on the summer breaks. But so like that was a really big stressor on me. So when like 17 hit in high school, 16, 17, you know, I was like, you know, fuck you, Dad. I'm done working for you every summer. I'm done like having to get the good grades, because I was a 4.0 GPA student, you know, for a couple of years there with him. I hit high school. I was living with him like, you know, freshman year of high school, and my grades started to slip because I came into high school and like, you know, I was one of the cooler guys in my grade. You know, I started hanging out with like the upperclassmen and whatnot, and you know, I was like going to parties. Grades started slipping. I went from a 4.0 GPA student to, you know, like a 2.7. You know, grades started slipping. He started getting more, you know, strict on me and getting on my ass. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna go back to my mother. At this time, my mother met a new dude that was actually really good for her, straightened her up a lot. She's no longer a drug addict at this point, getting her life together, kind of, you know, religious, and I move in with her again, but she's still lenient, right? She's still lenient on us and still like, do what you want to be who you want to be, do what you want to do, you know. So that was awesome of her, but at the same time, like, okay, now I have this freedom. I'm like, fuck, you know, I can do whatever I want, really. I mean, she still cared about grades and whatnot, yeah, but she's still like, she's not going to beat me around and be like, you got to do it. So.
Do you think it's important to like have, like for kids to have like kind of like that structure around them coming up? Or do you think like the freedom is
there has to be a happy balance, you know, like if they could just put their like, you know, the strictness and the leniency and they just put it together and meet in the middle, that'd be perfect. That'd be like the perfect amount for a child, I feel like. Because it's just having one extreme to the other is like, and hopping back and forth throughout my life was, you know, just messing with my brain a little bit, you know. So the reason that I'm like, I wanted to start out and talk about this, and because having all this having all this freedom now really kind of destroyed me after being so strict. You know what I mean? After like, when you have this freedom after being so strict, you just kind of go wild. You're like, fuck it.
You got too much time. You're just like,
you got the kids to the fuck it. You know, like I didn't live my childhood. I didn't have my summers. I didn't hang out with my friends. I bought my first car at the age of 15. You know, like I worked for a whole summer and like bought it cash. My first car at 15. Like paying for my own clothes. You know, like, and seeing my buddies around with his moms and shit, just buying them cars, buying them clothes, buying them this. I'm like, you know, going out on the weekends, going to the movies, hanging out with friends. I'm like, I don't get that. Yeah. So as soon as I turned 16, 17, and moved out, I was like, now I can't. So I'm going to, and I'm going to go balls to the wall with it. So start partying, started doing drugs, you know. Sophomore year rolls around, and I start getting into, end of freshman, I start working out, start getting a little healthier. Sophomore year rolls around, and there's a buddy of mine, and he starts doing, he's known for being the bigger dude in the high school. And I kind of just like, you know, I started working out too, and I was like, well, I want to be like this dude. I want to be one of the top guys, one of the buff guys in high school. You may know who I'm talking about, Jared.
Yeah.
But, so I'm like, all right, we start hanging out, start lifting together. He introduces sort of steroids to me, a pill form of like, I don't even know what it was. It was like from something to give cows or some shit. Crush it up, put it on your tongue. Well, that was the start of the whole thing. Started doing that, started getting major gains in the gym, and just got addicted, you know. And I was like, okay, well, he was doing it too. We were both just kind of going toe to toe at this point, you know, doing PRs, maxing out, being the biggest guys in the school. Everybody's like, ooh, like, man, muscles.
How like, I guess how would you put it in a metric? Like, how much were you lifting at the time? For people, like, I went to high school with you, I know, but like people that don't know.
Yeah,
that.
so
because it wasn't fucking normal.
Yeah, no, it was not normal. Okay, so nowadays, like, people are gonna listen to this and be like, oh, that's not that much, because kids are walking around at 17 years old, fucking doing what I did back in the day. Yeah. But this is 11 years ago, you know, like, this is different. I remember YouTubing people trying to find somebody like me, and like, I was top 5% of the world for sure at this time, you know, for being 17 years old. But yeah, so like I start, like, let's say when I started doing this, my strength started jumping up. Like, you start getting like these gains majorly quick. But it wasn't until like this buddy of mine started doing actual gear, and he started jumping up quicker. I'm like, how are you doing this, dude? Like, how are you surpassing me so quick? Because we were going kind of, you know, going toe to toe. And he's like, you know, started doing gear, you know, like actually injections and stuff and testosterone. And I was like, well, maybe I should try it too.
Fucking challenge accepted.
17 years old, dude. Like, you know, you shouldn't start that shit that early. No. Not at all. No, not at all, dude. Well, I started it, and yeah, just to give like so people a clarification, my max bench at 17 was 405 twice. You know, like I couldn't touch that now. I couldn't even come close to that now. And I'm in more shape than I was then. It's just like I was just kind of bigger and just mean, you know, and you're young and ruthless and no injuries, just kind of going at it. So like the 1,000-pound club was easy set for me. You know, I was able to lift whatever
on the regular.
On the regular, yeah. At 17 years old, you know, like I remember, yeah, like I said, YouTubing people. I'm like, all right, 405 twice, like at 17 years old. Can you find it? Nothing on YouTube at the time. Nothing. I'm sure you can find it like crazy now because there's SARMs in the world. There's all sorts of different stuff, more knowledge. But that time, like I was a fucking genetic freak. You know, like that's crazy. Playing football, just running over kids. You know, setting PRs in the school and everything. Like everybody's like, damn, like this is crazy. Jared and Logan just you know, coming at it. You know, it's like unreal. It's stupid. The reason I say, well, like so I get into that gear. And that kind of just changes my life too. I start drifting away from everybody, and I stopped doing sports. I'm like, all right, let's just go lifting. And you know what's funny is my dream career was to become an online influencer. Like I was like, I want to be these fitness dudes on Instagram, you know, like that's what I want in life. So that's what I shot for. Unfortunate enough, after I graduate, having all this freedom and being a partier, you know, as I'm doing this gear, I'm doing all the drugs, you know, like cocaine, ecstasy, Molly, anything you could think of in high school, like whatever they brought to the party, I'm doing it. You put a bowl of pills out on the table, like I'm doing that, like whatever, you know. I'm like, everybody like me because I'm the rager. I'm like the life of the party. I come here and I'm like, fuck it, let's do this, you know.
Gotta live up to the fucking hype.
Yeah, live up to the hype, you know. Everybody had this expectation of me, so I was always wanting to be that person too, you know. Like I had this expectation of myself, thinking that people had this expectation of me, and so I got out of high school and I started dating this woman, and she's not at the time. She wasn't a stripper at the time. She kind of became a stripper as I was dating her. We dated for a couple of years, and I was like in love with this woman. Like in love. Okay, so the reason, let me rewind it back. The reason why I fell in love with this woman is because the reason why I said you shouldn't do steroids at the age of 17 is because I got a bad batch and wasn't doing blood work, and my dick stopped working for a year and a half at the age of like 18, 19 or something like that. I don't know, a year and a half, dude. Like,
year and a half.
Did you ever go get checked out like after like what the
oh
fuck?
hell no, dude.
Like I ain't going.
I'm gonna get in trouble for using.
I was just a dumb kid, you know. I would just be pissed, like punching my dick when I was like trying to get into like hot and heavy with a woman, you know. I was just like, you know, let's fucking work. And that was stressful, dude. Like that scarred me. I started growing bitch tits. My acne on my arms were growing, like coming out really bad. My dick didn't work. I was like, so like that fucked me up.
And how long did that span go? Like
a year and a half, dude.
And you were still doing them, or did he stop?
No, I was probably still doing them. I kind of throughout my life I've been off and on. I can't really remember. So there'd be like spurts where I'd jump up and I'd do it for 3 or 4 months, and then I'd stop for like 3 or 4 or 6 months, right? And then I'd get back up and I'd do it off. And there'd be times where like, you know, I thought I was too big and I want to be skinny again. I want to be a skater boy. When I thought I was too big, I want to be skinny again. Like, so I kind of just went like this. I would be a lot bigger right now if I just kept going like this, but I kept on like gain 30 pounds, lose 30 pounds, gain 30 pounds, lose 30 pounds, which is super unhealthy for your body too.
How easy or hard is it to get gear as like a young kid?
Back in the day, I'm sure it's I don't know. I'm sure it's easier now, in my opinion. But I mean, I was getting it from, you know, a kid from the high school, and somebody actually in our hometown was dealing it a little bit. And then when that stopped providing it to me and I stopped getting it, I was like, shit, freaked out, right? Because I'm like addicted to this stuff. And I ended up messaging like 30 bodybuilder dudes on Instagram once. And 28, like let's say 20 of them told me to fuck off and they don't know what I'm talking about, you know? And the other 8 of them told me, or didn't even respond, or 9 of them. And then there's this one dude who was like, you know, call me, I'll hook you up. All right, dude.
Well, especially back then, because that was like so like big no topic back then.
Oh,
I feel
yeah,
like
definitely.
Now it's like everybody's like more understandable.
Dude,
like,
everybody,
if they use it right,
that's
actually
what,
getting checked up and stuff.
That's the thing though, is like people aren't still using it right. Like you see all these kids on social media now, and they're blowing the fuck up for it because they're bragging about trend this, trend that. You know, like we're just, I don't know, they're just blowing up on this stuff, and you don't see it. They kind of hide it, but people are still having heart attacks. People are still dying, you know, of this stuff. But
because like you were saying, like when you're younger and you're doing it, like you were saying, you looked good, but were you good? Like physically, like in shape, like could you like go like cardio wise, could you go fucking?
Yeah,
run?
when I was
Could
younger,
were you good?
Yeah, when I was younger, like everything was fine. The only thing that really stressed me out was, like I told you, like my libido was shot, my sex drive was shot. I started growing bitch tits, and I started getting a little bit of acne. And that right there alone, like that wasn't, I could still run miles, I still felt good. Well, that's a fucking lie. I remember actually looking back, I'd be at a party and I'd just start breaking out in sweats, like really big sweats, and like feeling sick and nauseated. And
Was it maybe because of the fucking Molly and shit? Or?
probably, oh yeah, all the drugs I'm just mixing in, plus
Everything
doing
is fucking-
steroids, you know?
yeah.
Like I was like, oh, and then back in the day, dude, this was my motto for the longest time. I was like, it doesn't matter how it doesn't matter how it works, it just matters how it looks. I smoke cigarettes. People be like, "Oh, dude, why are you eating so clean, doing gear? If you're like popping drugs and smoking cigarettes all the time." That's what I'd say, because it doesn't matter how it works, it just matters how it looks. You know, like dude, did that
That's
catch
a fucking
up?
vibe.
Did that catch up to me, man? Like, but yeah, like that's stressful. You know, like I was scarred for 3 years or whatever after my dick didn't work for that long, and that's what brings me back to this stripper, right? That's why I fell in love with this woman, because finally, like, she got me hard. I was getting off. I was like, what? After a year and a half, like, somebody's able to get me hard and going again.
You thought she was the one, right there.
She was the fucking magic, dude. I was like, hell yeah. Like, okay, so yeah, I was like wrapped around her finger. Crazy woman, but great sex, right? So,
How old were you at that time, you said?
probably like 20, you know,
Okay.
20, 21, maybe even a little later, maybe 22, somewhere around there.
Okay.
No, like 21. I was probably like 20, 21. What brings me into this winding back, talking about this girl that I was in love with. I had a buddy. I was stupid. Like I said, I was big into drugs. She was kind of big into drugs too. Like cocaine was kind of big in our town, right? Like cocaine was huge. I didn't know anybody that didn't do it. Like, so I got addicted to this stuff. I'm like definitely an upper addiction guy. And one day I was hanging out with one of my really, really good buddies and her, and we were just doing blow one night, and we ran out. And I was the one to make the joke. Like, we were trying to look for it, couldn't find it. I was the one to make the joke and was like, fuck it, let's just do meth.
Yeah.
You know, just joking around. Like, I've never touched this stuff. I was just fucking around. I was like, fuck it. And then serious, my buddy was like, all right, like, I just did some this morning. I was like, what? Like, I hung out with this dude, like, daily, you know? And I'm just like, wait, what? Like, what are you talking about?
Like, I was just fucking kidding.
Yeah, I was just fucking. And then my girl was like, yeah, I just did some last week. Right there. I'm like,
What the hell?
The fuck?
yeah, I'm like,
what world
I'm
am I
with,
living in?
yeah, I'm like, I'm with these people every fucking day. And I'm like, I didn't notice this. I was like, okay, if I didn't notice it, then it must not be that bad.
Yeah.
Right? Must not be that bad. Fuck it then. All right, for real then. All right, let's go get some then. Fuck it. So we did. And that was the start of that, you know. I remember sitting on the floor smoking meth for the first time and loved it, dude. Loved it. I was with, I ended up leaving my buddy, and it was just my girl and I. We took off, smoked the rest of it in our room, and just talked. Like that first night, I just remember like it was yesterday. We just talked. Like it was just heading it off. Like, you know, like you do on cocaine. Like you just talk, but like even better, you know. And I was just like, this girl's an angel. We're so in love. This is perfect. Second day goes by, no sleep. Mind you, I've never been up more than 2 days. You know, at this point, like cocaine takes you up, but you crash hard. So
That's what I was gonna ask you. The difference of cocaine to meth.
yeah,
How did
so
you feel that? Like,
cocaine's like boom, right? Like woof, like you're brrr and good and happy.
It's like a pre-workout type.
Yeah. But meth is like, it's kind of like that. Not quite the hit, but like a very like a longer focus, and you don't have that crash. It just stays. It doesn't go away. You know, like cocaine, you have this like up and then down. No, it just goes up and then just floats, you know, for a long ass time. And it's cheap, you know. At the time I was addicted to cocaine. I was blowing like $100 every few days, you know, and then I'm like, oh, a 20 fucking sack for meth? That lasts me a week? Like, what am I doing, dude? Like, what am I doing? So that brings me out. So that first night, like, so in love. Second day rolls around, no sleep. We're feeling kind of zombified. I'm definitely feeling zombified. You know, I'm like just out of it. Just feel like crap. But we're still getting by. Still have a little bit. And then the third day rolls around. We're hanging out with a group of people, and I don't know if I'm tripping at this point. Like, but I'm pretty sure I probably was, because I've never been up for 3 days straight. But that girl was sitting right next to me, that I was in love with, and I could have sworn she was just talking shit on me to everybody, like right there, telling me that she wants to fuck some other guy in front of me, and just being rude as hell. And I was getting heartbroken. I was like, who the fuck is this person? Like, went from the angel, literally like a god, to a demon. You know, I was just like, what the fuck? To the point where I was like so heartbroken, I started crying in front of these people. I called my mom as I'm high on meth for the first time. I'm like, come pick me up, and I drive away. Hated the shit. Hated it. And I was like, you know what? Like, no, fuck that. Like, that was the worst experience of my life. I've never seen anything like that. But I was so in love with this girl still, you know, and like she ended up getting addicted to it, and she kept doing it. And then I was wanting to get back with her after like a few weeks, and you know, I was like, well, she doesn't want to be with me because you know, I had this episode and I'm no longer into meth and she is. So I'm like, you know what? Let's pick it back up. And I was working 2 jobs at this time. I was working in a glass company and I was a bartender. So I only had like 3-4 hours of sleep every day as it was. So I was like, you know what, this will help me. And I started doing it by myself. And then I started picking it up. You know, I started getting like used to it. And so I wouldn't trip out and I started loving it. Got back with her, kind of started doing it for her, you know, and just got super addicted to it. And to the point where it was starting to show to other people, and the bar I was working at they kind of found out. They didn't know, but they kind of expected, and they tried doing like a group intervention thing, you know what I mean, for me. And when I found out they were doing that, I was like, no, I quit. They didn't even show my face there anymore, you know.
Did you feel like, because maybe they were just trying to attack you, you're like, fuck these guys?
Yeah,
or like,
yeah. I thought, you know, like, you know, fuck these guys. They don't need, like, stay out of my business. You know, you guys aren't doing so well yourselves. I mean, they weren't doing as bad as me, but they weren't. Yeah. I'm not gonna take advice from people that are working at a bar, you know. So I kind of just said, "Fuck you, I'm leaving."
Where were you living at this time? Where's this?
That's a good question. You know, I don't remember. At this time I was like couch hopping,
just
and
going around,
yeah. But eventually, okay, so I kind of remember. I started renting this basement with 2 other friends of mine that didn't know that I was doing this shit, and but they were kind of still like, you know, cocaine heads and drug addicts, so they weren't really know, like they couldn't tell for the most part. But then I started like as I started getting deeper and deeper into it, like I started bringing sketchy ass people around. I started like never sleeping. You'd see me up for 6 days in a row, like shit. Damn. Yeah, like it came to a point where I couldn't hide it, and then this people I was living with found out, you know, like they could just tell. Actually, they asked me for some cocaine, and I didn't have any, so I gave them meth. I didn't tell them it, but they snorted it. I remember I left for 2 days and came back, and they were so pissed off at me. They were like, "What the fuck did you give us?" They're like, "We haven't slept since you gave it to us." Blah, blah, blah. They kind of knew, but they're assuming, but they were right, and pretty much kicked me out of the house. I had a vehicle at this point. Some tweaker took my keys and got arrested, so my vehicle was stranded and got repoed. And I was trying to work for my dad at the time too, and that didn't work out. I didn't want him finding out, so I kind of quit, you know. So I was kind of like off on my own for a little while. And then the first thing like as I got deeper into it, long story short, there's this group of people, the tweaker people, that I never really knew that much. I was like stealing some stuff at this time to support my habit, you know, because I wasn't making any money from the bar or anything anymore. That's how you kind of support your habit, in that when you're not making money, you're just stealing shit and trading it. So I was pretty good at stealing shit at this point, and one of these tweakers hit me up one day. He's like, "Hey, I just got out of jail. I noticed you have some things to sell." He's like, "My mom's birthday is tomorrow, and I want to get some for her." I was like, all right, cool. Well, so I walked over there with all my shit and went to the back room. Like, it was just weird. I walked in this house. There's like a family, you know, they're cooking, whatever. I walked to the back room, and then all of a sudden, like, 7 people come out and just put guns in my fucking face, tell me to strip down to nothing, take everything from me. Like, I've never been in this situation before. Like,
so you go into this fucking place, and it's just a normal house, and then you like cross the door, and it's just like
just go in this back room, and like they're like, all right, cool. Like, the guy was like, yeah, cool, whatever, and then he just pulls out a fucking gun, and then 6 other people come out, like 3 more. Not everybody had a gun. There's like 3 guns in my face, and then like 7 people in the room, like telling me to fucking strip down, like cussing me out and shit. And I've never had a fucking gun in my face. This is the first time I ever had this happen to me, and I'm like, holy fuck, my heart's beating, you know. But I'm still kind of a bigger guy, you know. Like, everybody, when I started drugs, people are like, who the fuck is this dude, you know? Like, I walk into this trap house for the first time, and I'm still on gear, you know, some big white boy, big
like, jacked guy.
Everybody's like,
who the fuck,
you know,
is
like
this?
This is a fucking cop, dude. You know, like, this is a cop. So at the time, so I'm trying to like hold my own. I still intimidate these people, and that's probably why they had 3 guns on me. But at the time, I remember me on drugs, dude. I was fucking ruthless, man. I don't even know who I was, because I had a gun in my face, and I was like, this is fucked up. Like I'm still talking shit. Like I'm still pulling out I'm still scared. I'm pulling out my shit and like giving everybody and like stripping off. But I was like, this is fucked up. The situation. I was telling the other guy that knew me, I was like, this is fucked up. And the reason they stole from me is because when I was in this trap house, I gave a guy, as I was making money, I was one of the functional addicts, right, out of this trap house. Everybody doesn't have a fucking job. I'm the one with the car, with money, all this shit. So I'm like helping people out there. I'm buying them needles so they're not reusing them, and I'm getting like phones for people and yada yada. Well, I pass out. You fall out. If you're on drugs for that, if you're staying up for so long, eventually you just, fall asleep if you're up for days. And there's no waking up until you wake. Like
for like a couple, because I've heard they crash out for like hours, like long fucking time.
Hard, dude. Like to the point where I woke up for that first time and my pockets were emptied.
Really?
Like that was the first time I ever got stolen from me. Before somebody held my guns, and I was like, what the hell, dude? Like nothing. And I was like starting to freak out, and I was telling the people that were living in the house with me, which were my friends at the time. I was like, what the hell? And they're like, oh yeah, what the hell? They're like trying to look for my shit for me. Never found it. Like a couple weeks later. This guy has a gun, and he's like getting pissed off at somebody else. So I go into his room and take his gun because I don't want him to like be stupid and use it. Yeah. And I knew where he hid it. So as I went to go grab the gun. There's my shit.
There's all your shit.
There's all my fucking shit. He helped me look for this shit, and he's the one that took it from me, dude.
So like, you weren't trying to fucking help you, or just
I got fucking pissed. That's why I got stay true on my knuckles over a period of time, because all these things that happened to me through my drug addiction, and like all these people that I thought I was close to, like just fucking me over. And this is just a taste of my own medicine, because as I was growing up, I was kind of an asshole to like my dad and stuff, and I was like ended up stealing from him because I thought he owed me, So I was always stealing shit from my family and friends and stuff, and I thought that was right. So I started getting a taste of my own medicine. But
did you feel that? But as you're going through it, you're not like, it's a taste of my own medicine. You're just like, fuck everybody.
Yeah, fuck everybody. Like I was just I didn't
like now that you go back and reflect, you're like, it's a taste of your own medicine.
Exactly.
But when you're going through it, you're like, fuck.
No,
this.
yeah, just like people are out for me, So that's why they robbed me. So one of the guys that had the gun to my head was actually that guy that I gave all the shit to, and I stole the shit. And that's why they robbed me, because I robbed them technically. I'm like, I took my own shit back after you robbed me. And you guys are pissed at me, So I was like really upset about that situation, which pushed me to the edge of being like, Dad, I need some help. I'm in a drug addiction, and I just got robbed for the first time with guns in my face, and it was fucking scary, And he's like, okay, just come to the house. Let's get you out of it. Let's get you back to work. Of course, fucking work. Like, all right, so go back to work. I'm sober.
How difficult was that call though for you to tell your dad that you
it wasn't that hard, because I never had a gun in my face before. That was fucking, like I could have died. Like that's what my thought was. So like I could have died right there. Like I don't know what to, like I know now looking back, like all those guys were pussies. They wouldn't have shot me,
And how big were you at the time? Because did you stop working out kind of at that time?
Yeah, a little bit, but I was still bigger. And like even if I wasn't that huge, like I was still bigger than everybody in that industry, or that group of people. So I was very intimidating up until the last point, but it wasn't hard to make that call. So I'm sober with him for a couple of years. Or not a couple of years, I mean a couple of weeks, right? I'm sober for him with a couple of weeks, working for him. And then I'm just like, when you come off this stuff, you're tired and hungry and just dragging ass, dude. Like you feel like death. So I'm like, I can't work like this and continue my life without it. So I started picking it back up again. Very little, and it was helping me work. Well, I dated another girl that was into it. Started hanging out with this girl, and I was telling, and some other people too. Like as I was starting to get back into it, I blamed this girl as like I'm just dating her. So like I would leave at night for my father's house and be gone the entire night and show back up in the morning for work. I'd be like, oh no, I was just at the girl's house, sleeping around, but I was actually out smoking dope and stealing shit all night. So I ended up like working for him for a few weeks, stealing stuff on the job sites, still being high, running equipment, and he eventually caught me. He caught on, like I would be talking so fast in some areas. I'm like, it's like, eventually you can't hide it. I was a really good drug addict, but that stuff catches up to you, dude. Like you just can't hide it. So he ended up finding a dope pipe in my bag and some stuff that I stole, and he fired me on the spot, drove me back to the house, which we were like 2 hours away. He stopped. And this guy like worked his life. So for him to stop in the middle of the day and be like, no, we're driving you back to the house or whatever was like a big deal. He was trying to drive me straight to a place to get drug tested. But I was like, nah, you already know. Because I was trying to blame the pipe on somebody else that was just holding it for him, which is stupid. So one of the mistakes there is that he fired me and let me go and pretty much told me to go fuck myself. At this point, I was also stealing checks from him, business checks, and writing them out to myself, signing checks off to myself, because I was like, this guy owes me more money. I'm working all my ass like this, and he did. Like, honestly, even me looking back now, sober, that guy did. My dad did screw me over for how much I worked for him. I wasn't getting shit out of it. So, in a way, like, yes, he did owe me, but it's still wrong to steal from him, right?
Do you think it's kind of like, because we had the conversation the other day, like, when you're working in a family business, because my parents have business all the time, mm-hmm. Like, technically they're just like, they don't really pay you, but then they're just like, we got a place to live, you got a car, you got a vehicle, you got pretty much everything. So that's, I guess,
that's how they pay you.
That's kind of how they pay you.
Well,
so is it kind of like,
hear me out there? No, hear me out here. My dad, back in the day when he moved into this new house of his, he told me, he's like, oh yeah, my mortgage is only $500 a month. A couple of years later, I move into his basement to rent it out while I'm like 18. Guess how much that dude charges me for mortgage?
Fucking $500.
$500 fucking dollars, dude. $500 like for rent. I'm like that's the type of dude. Like, he's just stingy, dude.
Stingy as fuck.
Stingy. Like, I don't know. Like, took advantage of having a son for sure. If he heard this, he'd be like, "Fuck you, dude." But yeah, that's. I mean, it's just true though. So like, I always just felt like I was owed something from him. But anyways, he fires me. That's one of the biggest things. Like, now I have no job. Like, I'm not making any money. I'm in this drug addiction. Like, I have no vehicle because it's getting repoed. And, life is just shit. So what do? I hop into drugs deeper. And what my mentality, dude, ever since high school, like, I want to be the best at whatever I'm doing. So one night we went out stealing shit with a group of tweakers, and I came back with like a little handful of stuff, and they like maybe like $200 worth of things, and then people are coming back with like thousands of dollars worth of things. I'm like, fuck, I feel like a little bitch right now. I was scared stealing these things. So what do? I'm like, fuck it, let's become the best. Yeah, let's become the best. So I started just robbing every night. This small town that we're in, I was only in this drug addiction, major drug addiction for like majorly for 3 or 4 months. And I probably robbed this entire town like 3 times. Like, I would be up every night from sundown to sunrise, hopping in cars and buildings, whatever it may be, stealing shit. So mind you, like, I'm not a fan. I'm not a crowd favorite in these groups. Like, you have these little cliques when you're into meth, right? There's like, this clique hates this clique, and this clique hates this clique. There's like little groups, and they all have like kind of resentment towards each other, but they're still all connected. And so like, this group that I got robbed by, obviously I'm not going to be a part of them anymore. So I left them. I went to this group, and I ended up stealing from this group, and they found out and kicked me out of it. Pretty much threatened to kill me if they saw me around again. So I went to a different group because I actually did steal from them. And then this different group that I was hanging out with, I was at this point, like, I was tired of getting robbed at all these trap houses. So I got so deep into it that I was able to afford like living in motels every day. Living in motels every day with this drug addiction, like with all this stuff I was stealing, because I was tired of getting robbed. So I had my own little motel, my own little safe space. Well, this actual other group that I was actually hanging out with at this point, the third group by this point, one of the big guys, everybody's like, don't fuck with this guy. Like, this guy will kill you. Like, he's one of the meanest meth addicts around the town. It's like, all right, but we actually hit it off. And one night he's like, dude, I need a place to stay. And I'm like, all right, dude, come on in. You can stay with me. He comes over. I have all my stolen shit on the bed, a bunch of stolen shit. And I was just like, I'm gonna go do my thing.
And were they like, I mean, just to put perspective in, were they like tools or like money where you were getting?
Tools,
or just everything?
Phones, electronics,
whatever,
fucking birth certificates, marriage license, mail, like
everything,
anything you could fucking think of, dude. Really, I tried taking just as a trade. You don't know, like whatever I thought was kind of valuable, I took. you know. So at this point, like, this guy comes over, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go do my thing, I'm gonna go rob tonight, I'll be back in a few hours. Come back, all my shit's gone. Everything's gone. I'm just like, God damn it. I'm pissed, dude. I'm fucking pissed. Living. I'm like, third fucking group. They just fucking robbed me.
You just like this motherfucker in with you, and now you just.
I'm like trying to figure it out. Well, like a couple hours later, the dude I get a knock on the door. I look through the peephole, and it's that dude. I'm like, oh hell no. I open it up. 2 people come around. Boom! I just start beating my ass, dude. And like I have this axe of mine sitting by the door, and I just start getting jumped, and then they start throwing out like mail or like birth certificates or whatever it may be of like family members of theirs. And at this point, like I didn't steal from their family, like purposely. But at this point, I was so far into it that I'm telling you, I've robbed the entire town 3 times. You know, I'm like, I've been in so many parking lots, you know, and just taken, like, I've hopped in thousands of cars by this point. I'm like, more than likely, I probably ran in, like, this is a small town. I probably stole something from your family. I probably stole something from, you know,
probably
maybe here, you know, like
my tablet. I'm missing my tablet.
More than likely, dude. More than likely. So like they were beating my ass and threatening me. And well, this second group that I ran away from, they're kind of tied in together. The second and third group, and they knew that this second guy that I stole from, they're like, this guy has a hit out for you. He wants to fucking kill you. So we're gonna hold you here and bring him over here. Yeah. And dude, I'm sitting there in the bathroom and blood just pouring out my face. And I look in the mirror and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking die today. And I was like, if I don't do so, I'm gonna fucking die today. So I go out there, and they're like, let's axe this fool. Like one of the women there, like, let's axe. Or the guy was like, let's axe this fool. The guy that's like, don't fuck with this guy. Yeah. And one of the girls is like, okay, grabs it, and he's like, no, I'm just playing. Wait till this dude gets here. So I'm like, fuck. So I walk out there and I just kick that big dude in the stomach. Boom! Fucking run out the door, hide, fall out. And at this point, as all this is happening, there's this one other girl. I don't really want to say her name, but there's this one other girl, and she's kind of young. She's 18, dude. And everybody, her and I were kind of like, we had some similarities because everybody thought she was a cop, and everybody thought I was a cop. And all these cliques, like there's always this tension because we were different. Yeah. You know, she had like this family, she's cleaner, and then this girl always came around with tons of meth. Different kinds of meth, had always money, had a car, always had, you know, it was like weird.
She got connection.
Yeah, it's like, why is this 18-year-old girl coming around with all this shit all the time? And they thought it's because she was a cop. Well, come to find out, like I don't know how like true all this is, like, or like you just put all this info together and you take out what you want, okay? But this girl is messing with this dude, and she's selling it for him, right? This guy and this girl really likes me, like super likes me at this point. After all these groups of people hate me, it's just me and this girl that are talking. Just her and I. Like that's my girl. Like that's who's hooking me up. That's who I'm hanging out with at this point on a regular basis, and it's her and I. Well, this dude, she's messing around with this dude. I don't know if they're fucking, whatever, probably. Like
a big dog in there.
A big dog, dude. Okay. Like giving her shit. Like she's selling it for him, and she's like messing around with him. This guy finds out that she's like fucking around with me. Like I'm having sex with this woman and like hanging out with her for free dope. And at this point, like I'm stealing some dope from her. Like she has so much, I'm stealing it from her and stuff. But I get that night I get jumped. I couldn't get a hold of her for like 2 days, dude. I got jumped. I ended up robbing one more vehicle at this point, a handful of cash and cards. I walk over to the Walgreens. I buy myself a phone. I'm all alone at this point. At this point, nobody's talking to me in the meth industry. And I'm a full-blown addict. Like, fuck, dude, what am I going to do? Yeah. The one woman that is hooking me up won't answer me now. And so, like, I've stolen some cars and shit at this point. But so this night, I'm like, okay, I got my tattoos. Stay true. Right?
So you already had those on?
They're fresh. They were like fresh at this point because I got robbed 3 fucking times. Yeah. And I was like, stay true. And then at this point too, I honestly am realizing that it is kind of a taste of my own medicine. So like, it's stay true to myself, stay true with my family, stay true, like people others stay true to me, you know, stuff like that. So stay true was a big thing for me. These were fresh. And when I got these done, I noticed the guy that was doing my tattoos had a gun and his like a pistol in his tattoo box. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, okay. So after I got robbed, my mindset went to, let's go get this fucking gun and let's go get my fucking shit back. So as I'm walking over to, I have this motel and I'm walking over to this tattoo shop. I go shut off the power to this tattoo shop so I can like break in later at night. And as I'm passing by, I see this nice car, and I rob this car, and there's keys in the car. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I just stash the keys, you know, in this bush or whatever. As I'm walking back, like 12 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night, I see people with flashlights looking around in their car for the keys. I'm like, all right, cool. They don't have a spare. I'm gonna take this later. 1 o'clock rolls around. I'm like falling. I don't have any meth. I don't have any drugs. I'm falling out at this point, trying to get a hold of my girl, still not answering me. And I was like, 1 o'clock rolls around. Like I'm dropping my phone at this point. Like, you know, I'm like, okay, so I'm like, this is time to go. So I go over there. I steal his car. I'm headed over to the tattoo shop. And as I'm headed over there, I kind of see somebody following me. I just kind of get this feeling like somebody's behind me. And I'm like, okay, so I turn. They turn. I turn. They turn. I'm like, fuck. So I start hauling ass, dude. I'm like, vroom, vroom, like flying through the town, hauling ass. And I pull it into the side. I remember shut off the keys in the car and everything, all the lights, and I dunk down. And all of a sudden you see cop, like parking. And I'm like, shit. Yeah, I'm like, fuck. So what I do, I jump out the car and I start running, dude. I run. I'm like, I'm falling. I'm like ripping my jeans on a fence and like running out of my shoes and shit. One of my shoes came off. I was jumping fences. I stumbled into somebody's like backyard in their shed. And they had dogs. You can hear them. They had dogs and shit. So I'm like, I'm taking out, like, I have a bunch of stolen shit in my wallet, like IDs and stuff. So I'm like, I'm taking everything that I have out of my pocket and shoving. They had this like pile of 2x4s. I'm like shoving it up in these like 2x4s and stuff, everything I can. And I hear the dogs. So I'm like trying to get my scent off of me, but like throwing dirt on me and stuff. And they come in and they're like, oh, his shoe's here. He should be around here somewhere. And mind you, remember, I'm tired at this point. Like I'm falling out. So I'm like shoving myself up in this wood, and they come in. They fucking come in, and then I swear to God, I hear the dog smelling my ass, like, and I'm like, shit. Like, I'm just came quiet though, and I'm like real tucked up. I'm pretty skinny at this point too. I got down to like 178 pounds or something like that from 200.
Damn.
Yeah, like you were able to tell, like I had pics of my face, like I started looking like a tweaker at this point. But kid you not, they're like, he's not here, let's go. Like, no fucking shit, dude. I just got away with this. So they leave, and I can hear him still searching around, and I'm so tired that I fall asleep, dude.
In the fucking shed.
In the shed, dude. And the neighbor's dog keeps barking, so she complained to the cops that she thinks that there's somebody, like there's something back there, and they come and find me.
So they found you?
They found me,
oh,
dude.
Okay.
I was falling asleep, and they found me, and I was like, all right, you know, I played it cool, like laughing. One of the cops, like, kind of recognized me, well, kind of, because she's like, damn, you look like shit. Well, I go to jail. They have 9 felonies on me, on record. 9 felonies. And my parents, you know, it was 2 weeks since I heard from anybody. Like, I was like, damn, nobody loves me anymore. Like, my family's fucking...
Were you still kind of like in contact with your family at this point?
No, dude, that's what I mean. Like, nothing.
Not at all?
For 2 weeks in jail, like, not a
I mean, like, before
person.
that, like, while you were still using...
No, I stole from my family so much and shit. Like, that. My stepdad was like, he showed up on the doorstep, I'm going to shoot him, you know? And my dad was like, the same thing, pretty much. Like, nobody wanted anything to do with me. The only person I really talked to kind of was my grandmother. And she was, and my sister. I don't even remember talking to my sister, but my sister was like, yeah, we'd keep in contact the entire time. That's how we knew where you were when you were sometimes. And I was like, what? Like, damn, I was keeping in contact with you? But nobody really contacted me. And then I got a visitor after like 3 weeks, and it ended up being my mother. It broke down or whatever. And she ended up telling the judge, you know, I had actually a lot of people back me up, people from high school.
What did they charge you for? 9 felonies?
9 felonies. So I'll try listing off of a lot of them, but like grand theft auto, breaking and entry, burglary, forgery.
All your
drugs,
shit pretty much just caught
like
up to you, like right
all
then.
of it, yeah, dude.
Okay.
Like a bunch of burglary, a bunch of stuff with robbing.
Yeah.
But there's like teachers or like coaches from high school and, you know, and my mother and other people writing letters to the judge saying how good of a kid I was and how good, and, you know, like how I just messed up. And they actually took that into consideration. Like for the first time, like it's very rare somebody comes in with 9 felonies and they're like, Logan, we heard such and such, how you're a great kid. This is your first offense technically. I mean, I've been in trouble a few times, but not like this. and they're like, we're gonna give you a plea deal. They're like, you're gonna get off, no felonies. Like, you're not gonna have a single felony. They're like, as long as you complete probation successfully and your rehab successfully. You do that, you stay on a clear path, no felonies. I took that, I was like, that's a sign from fucking God. I'm like, okay, this is my second chance.
How old are you?
23.
Okay.
20, 22, somewhere around there. Early 20s, really early 20s. So I'm like, this is my second chance. I go to rehab up in Denver right away. I go up to rehab in Denver. And 2 weeks later, as I'm in rehab, the police department from my hometown calls and takes me back out of rehab. That's like something that you never hear of. Like, somebody's already in rehab, you don't take them out. They're like, it has to be serious for them to take you out of rehab for something, because they'll usually just wait to pull you out, and they're like, to pull you back into the police station afterwards. Well, they're like, no, this is something that has to do now. And they're like, we can only hold your spot for 4 days in this rehab. They're like, they have to have you there and have you back. It's like, all right, so it's a pretty serious deal. They all told me it's serious. I go there, I sit in this investigation room, and they try pinning a double homicide on me.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
And you know who it was? The girl I was hanging out with and the dude that she was messing around with.
Damn.
And you know how they got brutally murdered, dude? Head cut off, arms cut off, tits cut off. That's the girl, just decapitated, limbs cut off, and tits cut off and everything. And then the dude that she was with was stabbed 37 times, dude. 37 times.
What?
So, who do you think does that? Cartel? So, I don't know, somebody like that? I don't know, somebody fucking head honcho, like with a lot
it's
of
not
drugs.
a
higher
it's
up.
not a
It's
small.
a lot higher
If they were
up.
the ones
Somebody-
selling it, then it
It's
has to
not
be someone higher up.
just one person
And this
involved
is,
with some
and
shit
think about
like
this.
that.
This is around the time where they found a trailer around here full of fucking dope. Full. So, like, that's some big time shit. So I don't know who they're messing around with. I never met anybody, but I just knew that they were in some deep shit. She would never really tell me what was going on. But there was messages between her and I talking about hitman, talking about guns, talking about how she's going to be messing with some big time people. She'd always say big time people. She always just was like, hinting off that she's like in a serious fucking shit. But I was like, fuck, I'm a crazy motherfucker, dude. Like, I don't care, like, whatever. To the point where, like, I actually had somebody, I was so crazy, I had somebody from Mexico that knew some chop shops, because I had 3 cars out in the middle of fucking nowhere right now, and I was like, what do I do with them? I was like, I can't sell them, chop shop. So there's one guy from Mexico had this chop shop, and we're talking, just him and I in this room. I thought we had a good conversation. He ended up leaving, and the group walks in. They're like, what did you do to the dude? It's like, why? And they're like, he said you're fucking loco. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. I just thought I had a good conversation. So I was like crazy, I've had, throughout my drug addiction, I had multiple guns through my face. And there was this actual one dude that I know killed multiple people. He's a bad dude. I don't even know if he's still around here right now, but he's the dude here in this hometown that you don't, like, people are like, you don't want to mess with. Like, he's actually killed people. And I've been around some of the shit that he's done. And this guy, he pulled a gun on my face once. And cocked it, and I was like, you're a fucking fool. He's like, what the fuck you just say? Well, he didn't cock it yet, and I was like, you're a fucking fool. And that's when he cocked it and put it to my skull. I was like, fuck you, grabbed my shit, walked out. And everybody's like, the only reason you're not dead right now is because you weren't a bitch about it. You weren't a pussy. Like, you didn't show any fear. Now that happens to me, I'm not on drugs, dude, I'd fucking shit myself, I don't know who I was on this drugs. But anyways, they tried pinning this double homicide on me, and there's all these messages between her and I, and they were pinpulling them out to make it look like it was me. And I was like, no, I'll rat every motherfucker out right now. I was like, I don't care, I'll snitch. It's like, I'm not getting pinned with a double homicide. I'll tell you which tweaker is sleeping in which room and where they hide all their shit. So I did. I ratted everybody out. So I go back to rehab. They end up letting me go.
So how many days were you, like,
So
during the whole police stuff?
I only had 4 days to get in there and get back, so I had my spot back in the rehab, right? Okay. So it was only like a 4-day thing. Like, I remember I came back that last day. I had to spend like 2 nights in jail or whatever in the holding room, which sucked. But I come back to rehab and just start doing my thing. In this rehab, how they work is you have to go to this warehouse. It's a Salvation Army. you have to go to this warehouse, and they have these donations, and you have to like go pick up donations and resell them and whatever. Okay. Well, in this warehouse where I was working, this rehab was supposed to be a 3-month or 4-month thing, and no, maybe 6 months. I don't know. So it was quite a ways away. It was quite a long rehab, but I think like a couple months in, I was working in there, and somebody stole cash from this warehouse and this rehab. And on the cameras, they see me standing next to the office when they're counting the cash. So what do? They fucking blame me, dude. Yeah, and I'm like, I didn't do shit. Like, I didn't fucking steal. And I really fucking didn't. I didn't steal money. Like, I've always been a bad person about ratting myself out. I've always never been good at lying. Like, I always end up telling the truth. I always rat myself out. And I was like, I would tell you right now if I stole this shit, and I didn't steal it. I didn't steal that money. And they were hard, and they're like, no, we know you stole that money. I was like, what are you gonna do when I get like, are you gonna apologize to me when you find out that I didn't steal the money? And they're like, we don't have to do shit. We don't have to apologize for the shit. And I was like, what? And what's funny is that same night, the day that money went missing, that night somebody ran out the back door in the middle of the night. I'm like, you're not gonna pin it on that guy? Like some dude just bails in the middle of the night after the money goes missing.
It's a little suspicious.
Exactly. I'm like, why are you guys pinning on me? So for like weeks, 3 weeks, I was just like, this is Salvation Army, so you have to have your bed tucked in, folded, no creases. You have to have an organized locker, pristine, right? You have to wake up at a certain time with an alarm. Like it's like military shit, right? So every time I get back from this warehouse, bed would be just ripped off. Everything from my locker would just be torn out. They'd always be on my ass watching me. And I was like, I'm literally getting attacked here. Like, I'm getting attacked here. And everybody else knew it. And I started to tell my mom, and I told my probation officer, I was like, they're on me because they think that I stole money, and they won't let me. They're just not letting me be. They're just attacking me. And they're like, okay. So they understood. My probation officer actually ended up agreeing with me, because I got enough people to be like, yeah, he's telling the truth, to send me off to a different rehab.
So when you're in rehab, do they have like it's locked down, like you can't escape, or how does that?
Actually, this is so that pulled me back to it. You had like an open camp, like you ended up you were able to leave for like an hour with a buddy system. Like you could graduate these tiers, right? And as soon as like you eventually you can earn the right to leave for like an hour or two with a buddy, and then eventually after you graduate that tier, then you can leave for an hour or two on your own, and then you can come back. Well, and it's just a gate. There's just a gate that's holding up. Well, okay. My dumbass is like still in this like drug mentality. And these new guys come in, we're kind of like buddies, and we all convince each other to sneak out at night and go get some dope and go to downtown Denver, right? Because we're pretty close to Denver at this point. And we go downtown Denver and score some dope, and we get high. We're out there all night. We come back before everybody wakes up in the morning, and somebody notices we're gone and rats us out, right? Rats us out. So this is another reason why they're kind of on my ass too. Forgot to tell you that.
That was before the money stealing, or after the money?
That was after. So they were already on me, and then I was like, you know what, fuck it. I started getting this like pissy, like fuck you attitude. Okay. I decided to do this stupid shit. So I go out, and then that morning, I'm still high. We're all high. There's 3 of us, high as fuck, and they're like, they pulled us to the office, and they're like, we were told that you guys snuck out into drugs. We're gonna have to drug test you. And so us 3 are sitting there, right? Just like this, right here. Just like this. You're sitting there, I'm sitting here. Just like this. And they're sitting in the seats and they're talking to each other, and I'm just quiet, thinking to myself, like, man, I fucked up. They're like, man, they're gonna catch us. They're like debating on whether they're just ditching or not, and like talking. I don't remember what they're talking about. I remember they're just debating on leaving or not, and they left. And I didn't. I stayed there. And I was kicking myself in the ass, dude. I'm like, 9 felonies. Oh, no, okay. When they pulled me back in for that double homicide, there was 3 more felonies sitting on the desk that they brought to my attention.
So it had been 12.
11, not 10, 11. 11 felonies.
Okay, yeah.
So there's 11 felonies, right, or whatever, 9. Oh, wait, well, I don't know. There's 11 felonies.
There's a shitload.
There's 11. I know there's 11. There's 11 felonies. They found two more or whatever, 3 or 2 more, 2 or 3 more, and they're like, honestly, Logan, as this double homicide, before they sent me back to rehab, they're like, we're sorry to tell you this, but since we found some more, 11's just too much. We have to at least pin you with 1 felony. I was like, well, what the fuck? It's not like I went out and committed more crimes. Yeah. I was like, it was just sitting on a desk and you guys didn't get to it yet. I was like, why? I was like, I took this as a second fucking chance. Yeah. That's why I kind of had this like this demeanor too that switched. Instead of being like, oh, it's a sign from God, like it switched back. I'm like, okay, no, the world's an asshole. Yeah. Like you can't fucking do that. I even remember telling the judge, I'm like, I really feel like this is unfair because of the fact that you gave me this plea deal and I took it as a sign and it opened up my mind and changed me. But now you guys are gonna pin a felony on me now, and that's going to ruin my life.
Yeah, you're not keeping your part of the deal. That's
yeah, like you guys are ruining my life right now. And then the judge straight up told me, he's like, Logan, there's plenty of people that have done it with a felony. It's not going to ruin your life. It's not going to stop you. And I'm like, dude, that's fucked up. Like, whatever. So they pinned me with a forgery felony, F4. And I go back. So that's why I have this mentality. As I'm sitting there, I'm like, so now I'm alone. I'm sitting there high still. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, I'm going to prison. Like, for at least 10 years, I'm going to prison. Like, 11 felonies? Like, shit, dude. It's like over just getting high this one time. And for some reason, dude, someone was like telling me just to take the fucking test. I was like, you know what? Might as well just take the test and show that I'm cooperating. You know, at least that'll be better than leaving. So what do? I'm like, all right, let's take this test. I come back clean.
How?
Dude,
what?
I didn't know this.
Dude?
I did not know this, but meth doesn't come out of your system that way until 24 hours later. This was fresh. I was only like 6 hours in to smoking meth, 6 or 7 hours in, so
oh shit,
it didn't come out yet. If they would have tested me that next day,
yeah,
I would have been fucked.
So they test you and do they get results like instantly?
Yeah. They got results like the next 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, and they're like, okay. And then they pulled me into a room. As my pupils are like this dude in this dark ass room talking to me about me being sober, asking me questions about the other guys. And I'm like, yeah, they did do drugs. I was just there to hang out with them or whatever, you know, like.
Holy shit.
Dude,
cooperating.
Another sign. Another sign. I'm like, damn, somebody's looking out for me, dude. Somebody's looking at me. And then the night I got arrested, this is 3 signs from like there's somebody that wants me out in this world. So the night I got arrested was the night that the group of people I was hanging out with got brutally murdered.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Those were the only people I was hanging out with, and they got murdered because their shit was they were coming up short. One of the reasons they were probably coming up short was probably because of me, dude. Like I take that to heart still. Like I still go back to this girl's fucking Facebook and like message her every year and be like, happy birthday, and I'm sorry you're not here. You know, like it hits me hard because I feel part guilty for this murder. Which brings me to this. I go to this new rehab. After all that happened, I was like, I need to go to another one. Like this is just, I need to get away from this crowd. I need to get away from this rehab. So my probation officer was like, okay, block this.
So would you just say like, hey, I don't feel good in here, and they would transfer you maybe to like another rehab place? Or?
So yeah,
what was that? Because then they were also like searching your shit all the time.
Yeah, they were attacking me. I didn't open up. I didn't tell anybody. I fucking relapsed in rehab. Right? I was like, I kept my mouth shut. I was like, that's just. So I still actually had dope from that night on me, and as they were transferring me, I went all the way over there. It was actually close to my hometown. Went to a different rehab, and it was like a halfway house / rehab. And as I go in there, you know how you have this little pocket in your jeans right here? That's where I had that dope. I had a little bit of dope stashed in there as I'm checking into this new rehab. And they have this new person that's working at this rehab, and they were like kind of like shadowing, and they're training him or her, and they're like, okay, well, this is like showing you how they have to check you. And they're like, yeah, and then they're like, check this little pocket. I'm like, and they stuck his finger in there and then pulled it out.
He didn't
find it.
What?
I know, dude. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, so I go in this rehab. I know some of these people in the rehab because it's closer to the hometown, which is not good. And I end up doing a little bit of the dope and then selling it or giving it away to the other guy just to be the cool guy in this new place. Anyways, long story short, that's the last time I ever did the dope. I haven't done it after that.
So the last time you did dope was in rehab?
Yeah, on that.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, so this rehab though, like, it worked. Like, it was like a 3-month rehab. So I was like in a period of rehab for like 8 months. I always tell everybody, like, if you have somebody in a drug addiction that you love and, trying to get them out of it, do not send them to a rehab that's only 3 to 6 months. Don't do it. You need that 8-month mark. Like, you need to go over half a year to get out of that mindset. It's hard to get out of that mindset. And it was like that 7th month where I'm like, okay, I need to change some shit, being around all these people in rehab, bragging about being in different prison cells and different felonies and, like doing this and doing that. And I'm like looking at them like, you're fucking 50 years old and this is all you can talk about? Like, wow. I don't want to be you. So it kind of took me around, and they had like a bunch of good classes. This rehab was like, it was the shit. I took a lot from it. It's like they taught you stuff that they need to teach people in high school. And I just took a lot out of it. One thing too, in this rehab, so there's a story of, that big dude that I was telling you about earlier that was like, don't fuck with him, and he ended up jumping me. He had a brother. That went to the same rehab. He ended up getting a call in this rehab, and they don't know what it was really about, but he ended up getting this call. He said it was a little sketchy. He ends up graduating this rehab. 3 nights later, in his sleep, gets his throat slit.
What
okay.
The fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Like in rehab or out of the rehab?
No, out of rehab. He graduates. 3 nights later, he's in his own bed or whatever, and he gets his throat slit. Yeah. So I get a call in this rehab, and it's a private investigator from New Mexico. Super cool dude. He seemed chill or whatever. Asking me questions. He's like, hey, I'm just. He's like, I'm working for the case of the kids that are getting charged with this double homicide, that they tried pinning on you. And I'm just like, he's like, I'm working with them to, help them out. And I'm just trying to get some more information. I'm like, all right, cool. Asking me questions about the double homicide, asking me questions, like whatever, standard procedure. Then he started asking me questions of like, where are you going to be when you get out? What are your plans? Like, what are you going to do? And I'm just like, what the fuck? Why do you need that information?
Fuck you. It's a little fucking weird.
Yeah, what do you need to know what I'm going to be doing, where I'm going to be? I was like, all I was just telling him was like, I just know that I'm not going to be in my hometown anymore and I'm getting away from the shit. That's all I know. And so I just took that a little weird. And he's like, all right, cool. I hung up, immediately called my probation officer. I'm like, I just got off the phone with this private investigator, so-and-so, had his name, from New Mexico. And it's just a little weird.
Sketch, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, he's asking me questions. I was telling my probation officer this. And she's like, okay, let me look into it. Talks to the police department, looks into it. This guy doesn't exist, dude.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So they're just trying to find out where you're going to be.
Where I'm going to fucking be.
When you get out.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. So, dude, I get goosebumps, like, thinking about it.
Because these motherfuckers even have intel of where you're at and how to get, like, a hold of you. Like, hey, I just need to talk to this guy. Like, how do they even, like...
Through a fucking halfway house rehab, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How do they get passed along through that with all that credibility?
I don't know, dude. But, like, I was like, whoa, okay. So I complete this. This was, like, shortly... Like, this was, like, right before I'm about to graduate this rehab. So my mom comes, and she picks... Like, she knows about all this, so she comes packing, Like, my family's redneck, so they got guns and shit. So they come over and guns in the car, and she's like, we're driving you straight out of this town. We're not stopping. Like, you're coming out, you're going, and you're leaving. Like, you're not coming back here. I'm like, all right, cool. So I go up there. I start working in excavation because that's what my dad's company is. That's what I'm really good at. I've been doing it since I was fucking 12. And I'm clean. Things are going good, right? I'm making some money, making decent money for excavation, working on my own. I have my own little place. Things are going good. And I meet this woman on a site, and she's the site foreman for a new home building, $1 million home building. So this woman's making pretty good money, and she's 21 years older than me, dude. 21 years older. And I was like kind of the pretty boy on the side or whatever, and I had this coworker of mine that's my foreman. He was just like always feeding it into our ears about like hooking up for some reason. He's just like, dude, I'm gonna be your wingman, bro. You guys gotta just get at it, dude. And I was like, I don't know, dude. She's a fucking mom. But like one day he was talking to her, and he comes
almost fucking double your age.
Yeah, dude. And he's one day he's talking to her, and he comes to me, and he's like, dude, you never find out what Jolene said. And I'd be like, what? Because Jolene's her name. And I was like, what'd she say? He's like, she said that you're a good looking dude, like And I was like, okay.
But he's saying, like, this is our fucking chance, man. Let's roll.
This is our chance, dude. She thinks you're fucking good looking. So we ended up going out for drinks one night. My foreman and I and her. And we're just hitting it off. And, like, we're drinking Red Bull vodka, whatever, at this little bar that's close to our site. And my foreman's like, well, I gotta go. You know? And I'm like, all right, yeah. We're like, okay, see you later. So, and then we ended up, this woman and I were sitting there just drinking. We were like 15 Red Bull vodkas deep, just talking, like, deep talk. And then she's ended up driving, like, we leave, and she's, like, driving me back to my vehicle, and I just, like, attack her, like, kiss her neck and stuff. And like, she's like, fuck it, flips around. Long story short, that's game over, right? Like, we start dating, weird enough. She has a kid. I'm living in her house at this point, pretty much. She's like telling me to move out of this little place of mine. And she has 2 kids, a son and a daughter. And her son's literally like 6 months younger than me. And we're living in the same house. You know, I'm with his mom, dude. And then her daughter is like 6 months younger than my sister, you know? So it's like, I'm living with like my mom and us, but with the woman, you know? But, you know, I don't, like, it was great because she made enough money and she supported me. She's like, you know what, get out of the excavation. She's like, follow your dreams, pursue fitness. I'm like, all right, cool. So
how long of a transition was it from when you got out of rehab and that you were working in excavation? Like, how long did you work in excavation before, like, you met her?
So when I first moved up, when I first went up to the Denver, actually, I was actually dating a girl in rehab a little bit, right? So I moved up. That's how I got a place. Actually, eventually, like immediately, I moved up with this girl that I met through rehab. Was on Facebook with a phone that I stole and like, you know, I bought, and I was hiding in rehab because you're not allowed to have one. But I was talking to this girl online on Facebook that I just found, and she ended up living in Aurora in Colorado, so up towards Denver. And so she was the one. That's who I moved in with, like with her and her parents. As soon as I got out of rehab, moved up there with her. She ended up being crazy, dude. Actually, another thing that saved me too, another reason that somebody's looking out for me, this woman was like, we had a pretty rough relationship, like, and things got a little rough, like abusive there for a little bit. Like, I never hit her, but we like, she was like crazy, like there'd be times, like, for example, me trying to leave the door, she'd put herself through the middle of the door, like me and her in the door, and like trying to like hold me back. And there's one day, like, it got really, really bad. I was even at her house. I was like, your parents don't want to fucking hear this. You know, I'm just trying to leave. This was Christmas Eve. Okay? This was Christmas Eve, the year I got out of rehab. It's like, we're getting in a physical fight, and she's, like, whipping me with a cord and shit, ripping my shirt. And I end up leaving, and then she's, like, she finds me with a car, and she gets me in, and she's like, I called the cops. We're going back to the house. And, like, I'm a felon, dude. Like, I'm on probation still at this point. And I'm like, dude, like, this woman just called the cops for being abusive. I'm like, I'm going to fucking prison for sure. Again, like, this is another, like, now this is abusive. This is an abusive fucking deal. So this is going to be even more, like, oh, you're fucked, dude. You're going to prison for a long time. Now on top of your 11 felonies, now with the abusive charge, I was like, oh, I'm fucked. I was like, I ended up hopping out of her car while I was moving and started running away. And I was like, you know what? I didn't do anything wrong. I was like, I was just trying to get out of the house. And I was like, you know what? And this is like December. I'm in a tank top and shorts, dude. And I walk like 4 blocks from her house, cold as shit. I'm sitting on the curb waiting for these cops to show up, not knowing if she actually did or not. And I'm like freezing my ass off.
So you're like kind of eyeing the house, just sitting up here.
I walked all the way to the house, and I sat on the front curb of the house because I knew that's where they were going to come, right? And sure as shit, like 2 minutes later, as I'm sitting on the curb, there's cops pulling up. I'm like, damn, dude. And this woman, like, before the cops come out, she comes out and she's like, you're going to jail, bitch. And I was like, actually, no, we're both going to jail today. I was like, you're just going to be out a lot faster than I am. Yeah. And the cops come up to me. The cops show up. I walk right up to them. They're like, you call the cops? And I was like, actually, no, she called the cops on me. I was like, this is the story what happened. I was like, this woman's small, dude. She's tiny, skinny little woman. I'm like, I'm pretty big dude at this point. I'm like 220 pounds. And I'm like, listen, if we actually got into a bad altercation, abusive, you would see bruises on her, scratches on her, whatever else. I was like, look at me. There's like whips, scratch marks, everything. My shirt's torn. I'm outside and freezing my ass off. I was like, you can get her side of the story, but this is mine. Like, I just want to let you know, this is what happened. I was like, I didn't hit her, but yes, we did get into a little confrontation. So then they go to her, And I can hear her just bawling, dude, you know, like, he choked me, he was like, you know, strangling me, blah, blah. I'm like, fuck, what?
This bitch.
Yeah, this bitch, like, what? Like, oh, I was like, I'm going to fucking prison for sure.
Especially like those cases, like they'll tend to believe the girl a lot more.
Dude,
Yeah, like government stuff is always like.
Yeah, exactly. But
way.
and then so the cops walked up to me and they're like, we're sorry to tell you this. I'm like, fuck. And they're like, we're gonna send her to jail for domestic violence.
We're sending her to jail?
Yeah.
You're sorry to tell me?
Yeah, I was like, wait. Yeah, I was like, wait, what? And I was like, oh no, that's so sad. You know, like, what? Oh no. But you know,
Tell me where she's at so I can go visit her.
Yeah, I know. But like, I was so relieved. But I'm like, I mean, it makes sense, you know. But I just never saw that. Like, I was like, I'm a felon.
Yeah.
I'm bigger. I'm a male in this situation. She's a woman that never even got a fucking speeding ticket. You know, like, I'm like, I'm fucked. I know. They took. I was like, if you're strangled, there'd be bruises. You know, nothing. I was like, see, that's what I mean. Like, I was like, I didn't touch. Like, yes, we were holding each other, but like, I never did anything like that. So to send her off to jail and not me that night on Christmas Day, like wow.
Merry Christmas.
Like, you know, another reason why I'm somebody wants me out, you know, doesn't want me to be locked up or dead. Her family was even like, yeah, she's a little crazy, you know, sorry for that. Like, this is on Christmas Day, still give me my present that they got me, and like, as I'm like waiting there and awkwardly in their house while their daughter just got arrested, you know, and gone, I'm just sitting there like waiting for my family to come pick me up from, you know, 2 hours away. I'm just sitting there like, in this house with their daughter just getting arrested for us getting in a fight over domestic violence. Like, this is weird. But yeah, so that ended up happening, and that's when I moved in with by myself, you know, and then met that woman. So that was another reason. So that there's a little transition there, and I started working for like a solar company and didn't like it. So that's why it's like, you know what? I moved into this like sober home that I knew somebody from rehab that owned a house up there. It was like, you have to stay sober for it. Cool. So I ended an excavation. That's how
Do you think that helped you, like being in a sober home, because you were kind of already out of rehab, you're already good, you know, off of it, and then just kind of like another.
So the thing is, this is the thing though, is I still smoke weed. I was trying to find a way to like I love weed, dude. I still do. I still smoke weed, and I heard that even if you're on probation, if you get a medical card, you can still smoke weed. It's like a loophole.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool. So I got a medical card. I was able to smoke weed, but I was in this sober living home, so I was keeping it quiet and keeping it on the down low. But the buddy I was living, like, there's two of us in this guy's house. There's this guy and then two other, like me and this other dude. And this other dude that I went to rehab with. That's how I kind of found out. I didn't know the guy that owned the house, but he did go to the same rehab that we did, but I didn't know him. I just knew the guy that was living with him at the time. So that's how I found out. He hit me up. He's like, come on over here. Well, that guy found out I was smoking weed. He was like, oh, shit, you can do that? So he got a med card too. And then this guy was stupid enough to bring in like pounds of weed at the time in this sober living room. So they found out, you know, they could smell weed, and they drug tested us. And I'm just like, you know, I took the blame. I let that guy. I was like, no, it's just me. You don't need drug testing him. I ended up leaving, whatever, got my own place. So
okay.
So yeah, I got my own place, and that's when I was in this like working in. I was already working as excavation, making good money, like $4,000 a month, whatever, $3 or $4 grand, like $4,000 a month, which is pretty good. So I was able to afford my own little place, and that's when I met this woman. She took me out of the excavation. So us in this relationship, she lets me get out. I started working at a supplement company. That's when I start Instagram for the first time. There's this online competition, body transformation competition that I joined that you can win $10,000. It's like, all right, hell yeah. Got back on gear, right? Like fully, like I did a big cycle at this point, like more than I ever have, and I got shredded, dude. I looked so good. I was like, I did everything to a T. I didn't have to really work. I was working at a supplement company, but like part time. Like I was living with this woman that made 6 figures, and I was just like, all right, cool. Just wing it. I was like, I'm trying to make this. I'm gonna try.
Just had to work out, pull the.
Yeah.
Be a dad and be a supplement.
Yeah. Give good D, and I'm you know, that's all I had to do, you know. And then I was able to do whatever I want. So, so I it was a 3-month transformation, and I ended up looking so good that I was looking at people online. I'm like, if these guys can do it, I can do it. I look better than 70% of these people online. So that's why I started. I started posting online, and it wasn't really taking off. And that's just like TikTok was kind of new at this time. And I was trying to post like workout TikTok videos. Nothing was taking off. And this daughter of hers, dude, was just a disaster, dude. She was nasty. Like she'd make herself puke, and she'd leave cups of puke around, everywhere. Yeah, she was like, she would buy, like, she was a nanny for like this really rich family, so she'd get like $6,000 a month in checks just nannying as a 22-year-old or whatever. And I'm like, damn, this. And then she would refuse to help pay for anything in her mom, or like help her mom out or all that. And she'd buy like $1,000 shoes, yet complain about not being able to pay for her car and all that. And I'm just like, and she's really big in this TikTok. She's trying to do those TikTok dances. And I was like, you know what? I'll make a TikTok. I was like, hey, here. I was like, one day I just walked in. I was like, here's a TikTok for all you fuckers. I was like, this is the girl I'm dating. I was just bitching about her. I was like, this is what she looks like. This is what she does. Look at this. Look at that. Look at this. And it blew the fuck up, dude. Like, it blew up. And that was the first video. So I just rode that wave. That's how you do it. If you get a video that takes off once, you throw those videos in. As that video's blowing up, you throw more videos in, because that's feeding, and then
the fucking monster.
Yeah. And then people are just gonna fall off and look at those other videos, which blows up the other videos. So I started taking off. Started doing TikToks. Started working out that way. I got my certification for personal training. At this time, I just now get into a gym dating this woman as a personal trainer, and she's like very insecure, of course, because she's 21 years older than me. I'm like a young kind of stud, working out at this big gym with a bunch of other women around. So she got really insecure and was like trying to tell me when and where and who I can and can't train. Just like, this is bad. End up getting in a big old fight. She kicks me out of the house. We break up, and then COVID happens, and they shut down the gyms from COVID, right? So like, now I'm not making any money up there, and I'm just screwed. So
yeah. Oh, you're good.
So I'm just screwed though on this job. I get kicked back down to Fort Morgan, right? And during COVID, which lands me in the hometown that I wasn't really too impressed about. Like, I don't want to be down.
Just stuck here.
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't have any vehicle, don't have any money to show for it, and I'm back in the hometown that I'm like, I don't know who's looking for me here, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I don't want to, like, this is where I cause chaos. This like this isn't good for me to be here. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, now I'm back in my hometown during COVID, making even less money than my dad was paying me before, because I don't know, because fuck me, right? So.
But no fucking gyms or anything. So.
No gyms. Like. Actually, that's one of the reasons why I decided, I was like, okay, let's move back down to Morgan and help my dad out, because he has this home gym. I was like, he has this little home gym, so maybe I can work out with him. And then I also hit up a buddy that has a home gym too, and I ended up coming down here, and the buddy was like, we just had a baby, and my wife doesn't really want other people around, so I'm sorry, buddy, you can't train here. I'm like, well, shit, you told me that I could before I moved down here. And I moved down here, and my dad is like, oh, yeah, sorry, dude, I just sold
everything.
I just sold the whole home gym, just like a few weeks ago. I'm like, like, damn it. So like, I'm stressed and depressed down here. I started talking to another girl that was training up there, actually. And so like, I was really stressed because I couldn't come and see her all the time. I was stuck in this hometown, stressed out of my mind, making very little money, no car, no way to like talk to this girl. And then she's like making me feel guilty because she has to drive down and pick me up and drive back every time. She's like, I can't do that all the time. And I'm like, well, this sucks. So at this time I have, like 100-something thousand followers on TikTok, and maybe like 11,000 on Instagram. And I was getting some deals, like possibilities, like for TV shows like The Circle and Love Island and stuff like that on Netflix. And like, I didn't score any, but one of these interviews I was having with them, they're like, do you have OnlyFans? And I was like, no. They're like, okay, good. Well, I was waiting. I was like super stoked. I was like, damn, this is my opportunity to blow up even more, like on this TV show. And I waited a couple weeks, a few months, and nothing, or like a month or whatever, nothing ever came by of it. And I was like, you know what? I'm tired of being here. It's like, for shits and giggles, let's start up an OnlyFans. Fuck it, why not?
See what it does.
Yeah, see what it does. So I started one up. 3 days later, I made $4,000.
3 days. How long later?
3 days.
3 days.
3 days. I started like on a Friday, and that next Sunday or whatever, I was $4,000 richer.
You say what?
Yeah, I was like,
I made this shit. I'm
Say
making
less.
more than
less than that in a month
Yeah.
with my dad. Less than that. I was making maybe $3,200, $3,100 in a month, working my ass off. You know, I was like $4,000 in 3 days, and so and then I started talking to that older woman again. At this point, we're starting to like hit it off, like just like kind of missing each other and talking, and so she would come down and drive me and pick me up, and we'd use that money and we'd like record or do whatever, you know, like make some more money. Like we'd use it as like a little vacation, you know. It's like as long as that's what the OnlyFans was about. It was like, okay, so hopefully I can make enough money that we can come up and see each other until I can get my life together and come back and move up here. Well, like 2 weeks later, I'm rolling in money, dude. I'm making already like $10,000 a month in this.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
And what is it? Are you just doing like photos, videos, or like
So
what,
at this
time,
time, like I'm just pulling out like with that $4,000 in those 3 days, I was just pulling out stuff in my camera roll, like shit that I already had, you know, like just pictures and shit. That's what made me $4,000. So and then after that, yeah, so when I started like going up on the weekends, like I was starting to record with the older woman, which was a kind of a hit, you know, like because that's like a fetish for a lot of people, like. So it kind of blew up there too, and I just told my dad, I'm like, sorry, dude, but I'm out of here. You know, I'm making a lot of money. I'm moving back up there. And at this time, the woman that I was seeing, she actually lost her 6-figure job, got fired from it, and the house that she was renting, they gave her a 30-day notice to get out, so she was screwed. And I was like, you know what? You helped me out. You helped me get out of that industry. You helped me like kind of build my stuff. I was like, now I'm making a lot of money. Let me help you out. So we got back together. This was like 6 months on the dot. So we got back together, move up here, and I'm like full blown OnlyFans full time, you know. She's helping me edit videos and yada yada. She's not working at all, and I'm just supporting the both of us technically.
but she's just like your photographer, or what? Or did you get like professional like shoots and places?
No, dude, I made all my money on a fucking ring light and a phone. That's it. It's fucking it, dude. That's all I had.
As long as it fucking works.
A ring light and a phone. That's all I needed. I made money. But yeah, she would like we had 2 phones and we'd like edit. She'd help me edit, and she's like doing my taxes stuff and like helping me turn it into a business because she's like, you know, she knows all about that stuff. But like 6 months goes by doing this. We were I'm stressed, dude, you know, like dating somebody that old, like I did enjoy her a lot, and like I do not regret any of it at all, but I knew it wasn't forever. You know what I mean? Like it's like I'm making all this money and I'm just kind of throwing it away. Like she's always promising me to build this big empire. Like we're just gonna start up a clothing brand, we're gonna do this, I'm gonna help you do that, and we're gonna start this and that, and we're gonna build this empire together. And I was just waiting for her to help me build this empire, and it was just never going. She was like keeping me at the end of the reel, like making sure we weren't getting this empire
Giving
built.
you just enough so you don't leave, because like he gets it. Yeah. This motherfucker's gonna leave.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So she was just giving me just enough to like keep me around, you know, because she knew. Yeah. She knew, and I knew, you know. So I'm stressed, you know, and I'm back on steroids at this point, and one day we're working out. Like one day we wake up. I'm already in a stressed situation. I've been kind of like blowing up a lot lately, and probably from the roids. Probably like, you know, being just anger issues from it or not. But one day we wake up. We're in a fight, of course. We decide to go to the gym. I go to the gym. Rewind. I got a surgery. Mind you, 3 weeks before this day, I got surgery on gyno for my bitch tits, right? This was some of my insecurity. The biggest insecurity I had was always these lumps under my nipples, and I was like, nah, I need to get rid of that. Now I was making the money. I paid $6,000 out of pocket to get these removed. Cool. Got them removed. Super chill or whatever. I was super stoked. They're like, you're going to have to wait 2 or 3 weeks to work out. I'm like, all right. So I'm off for 2 or 3 weeks, letting my chest heal. They give me the go-ahead one day. They're like, all right, today's the day. Go work out. Fuck yeah, cool. So this is the day we woke up kind of not even like super pissed, not even like super stressed, but, you know, just like I don't even remember what it was about, but we were just definitely not in the right mindset though. But like this is the first day I'm coming to work out after 2 or 3 weeks. I load up on caffeine for the first time. Just a mixture of things, right? But it's just a normal day. And I go hit legs. I decided, you know what, legs. I'm gonna hit legs, and I'm bound up really tight. You know, from this chest, you have to like wear this like binder for your chest to heal right and keep you flat. So I'm like really bound up tight. So I go and hit legs for the first time, and as most people know, that's in the fitness. You hit hard leg day, you get sick sometimes, like to the point where you'll throw up. Yeah, you know what I mean. So I was like, man, I was like feeling like 45 minutes in this workout, I was like feeling super sick, like started getting like nauseated and stuff. And so I walked over to my ex at the time, and I'm like, over to that woman, I'm like, I'm gonna cut it out early and go upstairs and cool down on the treadmill. As soon as I got up on the treadmill, I was just like feeling like shit, cold sweats, chills, drain, like your like adrenal glands are going off or something. I'm like, whoa, like at this point, I'm like, oh man, I just hit a fucking hard work like this. My body's not used to
hard
this.
workout in like 2 weeks, 2 3
and
weeks.
I'm bound, yeah, you know, I'm bound up and all that. So I'm like, I'm headed down the stairs to go in the locker room, and by the time I'm in the locker room, dude, I have this pain in my fucking back, shoulder blade to shoulder blade, just shooting across, and I'm like freaking out. Like I was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like trying to rip my shit out. I'm like trying to get naked because I'm sweating so bad, and I just feel claustrophobic, and I'm over there shitting and puking myself in the stall, and I'm like grabbing things, trying to stretch out my back because it hurts so bad. I remember laying on the floor, like in the stall, and I could see people's feet, you know, underneath the door. And I was like, man, I'm getting embarrassed because I'm like grunting and moaning and fucking dying in this stall. And I'm like, man, I need to go home. Like, this is embarrassing. So I pull myself together enough to like get my shorts on and my shirt on, and like grab my underwear and my headphones and my hoodie and everything, my bag, and like have it all in my hands. And I'm like walking out of the gym, like trying to hold myself together and not embarrass myself anymore. And I'm like, see you later, you know, like bye. And by the time I get outside, call the lady my girl that's in the gym, and I'm like, we need to go home, like I feel like shit, and I'm like laying on the bed of the truck, like like fucking,
Like on the outside of the truck?
yeah, because she had like the cover on the bed, you know.
Okay.
So I'm like laying on the cover of the bed, and I'm like rolling around and like trying to like just fucking in pain, you know. And so she gets outside, and I get in the car, and she's like starting to drive home. Like 2 minutes into the drive, I'm like because I want to lay down. I just feel like I have to lay down because I can't sit up, or I just feel the pain. So I'm like laying down in the back seat. 2 minutes into the drive, I'm like blacking out. I'm like screaming, punching shit. Like I'm just in this pain. I'm like, something's not right. So we're like hauling ass to the hospital. And by the time I get to the hospital, I fall to the floor, and like I'm kind of blacking out. And she said that. I looked her in the eyes like, I don't want to die. So I told her. And they put some nitrous or whatever they put under your tongue for people with heart attack patients, and it like woke me up, and I was like able to like come to again a little bit. I was able to breathe, I was able to think, wasn't in a lot of pain. And all I remember was thinking, I was like, man, I'm such a bitch, dude. I can't believe I'm in the fucking emergency room over a lake day. Like, god damn it, like why am I here?
Got
you
the
know?
best of me today.
Yeah, I'm like, damn. And they're like, they put me up to an EKG, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. They're like, just breathe better, trying to like see my heartbeat on this EKG. Couldn't figure out. The doctor thought it was like a tear in my heart, and I was like, what? And then like some other doctor flew over from another place and was like, no, this kid's having a full-blown heart attack right now. And they flew me into they got me into this next room and like put a stent in me, cleared me out. So like I had a 98% blockage in my LAD, which is like they call it the widowmaker. That's like what kills. Like that's the major heart attack you could have.
Yeah,
so
98% blockage.
Yeah, 98% blockage.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yep.
So like when you show up to the hospital, are you like going through it, or still at the hospital and you're still feeling fucked up?
Yeah. Oh no. When I got to the hospital, I was.
Because you said you were blacking out, and they give you the nitrous to kind of wake up.
Yeah, I fell to the floor and I was in pain. I just remember kind of going in and out of it, and the next thing I know, like they put that shit in my mouth, and I'm like, whoop.
So like this like the heart attack went on for like a while then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like a 15-minute thing or so.
Yeah.
So wasn't it just like because typically when you think of a heart attack, it's like, oh, right away you like feel it or whatever, but it wasn't.
No, dude. Like I said, it's weird because people say like chest pain or whatever. I had zero chest pain. There was no chest pain. Like it was all back pain. Like it was just weird. It was like from shoulder blade to shoulder blade, a straight line. And I just felt super sick. You know, like it wasn't something that was abnormal. But yeah, it was like I was probably in that gym fighting the heart attack for probably like 10 to 15 minutes in the gym, and then the drive over to the hospital was probably like a 5 to 10 minute drive, like hauling ass. Because there was like, you know what's stupid is this hospital I did, right? The roads that are connecting to this hospital, there's a school right beside it, so they have the 20-mile-an-hour zones and all these little dude, yeah. And there's this guy driving 20 miles, and my ex is just like fucking honking on hard, like riding his ass, and he's all like flipping us off, like, dude, I'm dying in the back here, like, and you're over here getting pissed because we're riding your ass, you know, like, little does he know, but Like, that's stupid. Don't put, so anybody other that don't put a fucking 20-mile-an-hour zones or school next to a fucking emergency room. Doesn't make sense. But yeah, so like it was probably a 20, 25-minute process. And then I was sitting in the hospital. After they put that in there, I was probably sitting in the hospital for another 10 or 15 minutes, you know, with that shit in my mouth before they actually started taking me in another room. So yeah, 30, 40-minute process of dying, dude, and pain. Yeah, so.
And what led it to it? Did they tell you, like, what? So,
you know, I've talked to many doctors, and like the doctor I have now, like we just kind of came to the conclusion that it was just one big bad cocktail. You know, the drug use that I had back in the day. My family has hereditary issues for heart attacks. Like my uncles had 13 heart attacks and like 2 or 3 triple bypasses. Like stupid. Shit. Yeah, my dad literally just this last year had a major heart attack. He had to get 3 stents put in. So like it just runs in the family, you know. And then like my drug addiction, hereditary issues, the steroid use. The stressful relationship that I was in at that time, the surgery that I just came out of, the caffeine, you know, like just all everything. just lined up perfectly, you know. So yeah, I was 25 at this time, 25 years old, almost fucking died of a heart attack, you know, like doesn't matter how. And then remember how I said doesn't matter how it looks, or doesn't matter how it works, doesn't matter how it looks.
Yeah.
That right then and there, I'm like, that changed.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay.
Would you say, fuck this? Yeah, this is going out. This is out the window.
I was like, I don't give it. Like, I care about how I look, but damn, do I want to fucking live? You know. Yeah. So after that heart attack, I was like super strict on myself. Like I ate nothing that was outside of like a heart. Like, you know, everything that's cholesterol healthy and what they say is good for the heart. It's all I ate, and it was just kind of like scarred from it, you know. But that woke me up to the point where I was like, this relationship isn't going nowhere, and she's just stringing me along, you know, and I just need to grow from it. I haven't lived. I was like, I didn't travel anywhere. I haven't done shit, you know. I don't have friends, didn't do anything. Like, I was so upset with my life that I didn't do anything, you know. Like, things need to change. So I made the change. I left her, and then I started living life. I went to Mexico, like, shortly after, and then I was dating, not dating, but I was seeing a decent amount of different women at this time, trying to figure out, you know, what I want to do, who I want to be with, you know, trying to live that single life. And man, every woman that just came around, I'm like, yeah, you know, like, no, that's not for me. So eventually I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna become a man whore and take off on this OnlyFans thing. Might as well, you know, like, fuck it. And then I bought a dog, a golden retriever, for emotional support animal after my heart attack, and I started, like, you know, bought a Jeep instead of a Maserati, you know. I started going because I wanted to go to the mountains. I wanted to start being active. I actually wanted to start living life. So I was like, you know, a Jeep and a dog seems like a good way to go. So I started walking this dog every morning. I was living my life, doing different adventures and going to different places and parties and hikes and whatnot, like I never did. And one day I took my dog for a walk and I dropped my phone, and I met, you know, my fiance now. She's like, hey, mister, you dropped your phone. I'm like, all right, cool. So
it was kind of like in the movies where you actually like run into them. They pick up your stack of papers.
Exactly. But
now it's modern. Now it's a phone.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, she was dating somebody at this time, and she was living with a roommate, and she's like, this roommate was single, so she's always trying to shove me off on her roommate. And so I was like, all right, whatever. I'll hang out with your roommate a little bit.
And at this point, you weren't looking for anything serious. You were just like, I'm just having fun.
Like, at this point, I decided, like, I'm just gonna become a man whore. You know, like, I'm just gonna blow up on this OnlyFans and just do whatever I need to do. Fuck it. And so I'm like hanging out with this woman, this roommate of hers. And we're sitting on the couch one day, and she's just like dogging on her roommate, which is my fiance now, just like talking shit. And I was like, everything that she was saying, though, I was like, yeah, that sounds good. Like, keep telling me more, you know, like right on. Like, I think I can get to like this woman. Yeah. But it never, you know, I didn't really think anything. She's already dating somebody, but that girl didn't really hit it off with me, so I just left her, you know, started doing my own thing some more. And then one day I just got a text message from her, like, hey, we should hang out, from Serena, my fiance. And I was like, bet, you know. Like,
say less.
Yeah, I was like, done, deal. Like, that's all I need. So, yeah, we hit it off. Things are going good. I'm starting to get, like, I'm starting to blow up. After this heart attack, I'm starting to blow up a lot more on social media, right? Just because people are curious, you know. This 25-year-old almost died.
It's not normal,
you know. Like,
so you weren't just blowing up just because, like, the fitness and the OnlyFans.
It was a little bit of, like, so I was kind of hiding everything. I was just trying to be fitness, you know. I was just trying to, like, show this this demeanor of myself that wasn't just a part of myself. I was just trying to show this part of myself. And then after the heart attack, I was like, let's open up. I was like, let's talk about my drug addiction. I was like, let's talk about, you know, my heart attack. Let's talk about all the shit that I went through. Let's talk about childhood abuse. And I didn't ever really like sat here like we were doing today and actually talked about it, but I spilled a little bit of it every now and then I would mix it in with, you know, thirst traps or whatever. But it all kind of just correlated and blew up and worked. It all worked.
No, we appreciate you like fucking opening up and telling us this whole thing because we're going in pretty deep on it. So
yeah, dude.
That's cool.
So, of course, this what was I saying? So this, what am I saying? What am I thinking?
She sent you a message. You guys
got together.
So at this point, yeah. Now this chick is the first chick I ever dated that's into fitness. She's from Italy, moved to Las Vegas. And if you think about Las Vegas life, like fitness is huge out there. There's a bunch of expos, there's a bunch of bodybuilders, everything like that. She did a show before. So when I met her, I was like, you know what? Like I've always wanted to do a show. And we decided to do one, you know? I was like, okay. So I did this show, got super ripped again. And honestly, like I went from 40, 50,000 followers on Instagram to 109 in like 3 months from this show. Like just like blew up.
From doing the competition?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, really?
Just being like, I was just so shredded and just worked out that like everything just blew up. Like it just started blowing up like crazy. So I think like that now to the point though, like I was telling you guys earlier before we got on camera that I got into this wreck like 2 months ago, and it just kind of started tanking my social media just because I haven't been posting on it or whatnot. But I'm going to be, moving to Vegas back to where like, you know, Serena's living at, and I think that's going to blow me up even further. So I'm glad that I'm able to share this story, you know, and like kind of spill it out there because I think this is a good way to like leave off Colorado, you know, and like
close
the deal.
New chapters and stuff.
New chapters.
Yeah, it's some powerful stuff, honestly.
I wanted to ask you a little bit. How important do you think it is for couples, your partner, to have kind of like the same kind of alignment as like you have? Like you're saying Serena, she's in fitness, like you're in fitness. It's hard. Like I want to do fitness. She wants to fucking eat donuts. You know, it's like
Dude,
so.
That's hard. Dude.
For the people wondering, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties over here.
Damn camera over there. But yeah, it's hard. I think it's very important to be. They say opposites attract. Bullshit. You know, bullshit. Opposites don't attract. I mean, like, okay, you may be curious to the point, like, okay, this person's totally different than I am. You know, and so that makes things exciting. You know, opposites attract. It's just exciting. You just want to know. You know, you just want to be a part of something a little different than what you're used to. So. I mean, it may be good right off the bat, you know, for a month, 2, 3, a year, you know, whatever it may be, but it's not going to work out. It's definitely not going to work out. This woman that I started dating, like, we're the same fucking person, you know, and I've never had a better relationship in my life, you know, like and as soon as, and the reason I say it doesn't work out is because we've gone through some hardships right now where we lose track of ourselves, and it's like she stops working out. Like I get a little pissy or whatever. Like if I stop being me to an extent, like it just like we start getting a little rocky, you know. So as long as we are who we were, you know, it'll just stay. So I think it's super important for you to be in a relationship and be like the same person, and to be able to motivate each other, you know, to be what you want to be.
To be more and do more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like I'm just thinking because I don't know if you know like the whole thing how he got famous, the dad bod.
Yeah.
So he got famous by DiCaprio because he's out with the dad bod and cool. The difference is DiCaprio got hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yes.
So they're like, oh, the dad bod is like the new thing. But if I don't know how much you like know about it because I like to research a lot of shit. Like you go into it and you research it a lot. A lot of it was because the dad bod got famous because it's like, okay, we're hanging out one night and if I'm fat and you're fat, you can't fat shame me because you're fat.
Yeah.
So that's how like it started. The women are the ones that started it. It's fucked up. The women are gonna like it, but the women kind of started it. Like, hey, you're good like that, so that way you don't tell me I'm fat. You know.
Oh.
So that's kind of how it started. Like.
So, like to talk a little bit deeper, the things that I've learned and seen through OnlyFans, dude, is insane. Like the fetishes, the desires, the people, like just a whole different crowd. Like you, mind blown, dude, what you see out there. But I've learned that to some people, honestly, like people would prefer a big grizzly bear over me. Like some people will look at me and be like, you know, I got super shredded on OnlyFans and people didn't like it. They liked me and my little fluffier look. You know, like there's a niche for everybody out there. If you guys want me to go into a little detail on OnlyFans, like what I'm talking about, like I'll talk about.
Go for it.
Let's
go. All right, cool.
Let's go. I'm not on OnlyFans if you guys don't know.
I'm waiting to see if it's something I could do.
Yeah, dude. No. All right, so some of the fetishes, dude. One of the first things when I was still working with my father when I first started it, I was making TikToks, right? So I had a TikTok that was like at 800,000 followers before it got banned because I was advertising OnlyFans like on crazy. But like I lifted my leg up on the equipment and you have like these wrinkles in your jeans right here, right? Like right here, these are little wrinkles in the knee.
Oh yeah.
Somebody hit me up and was like, "Yo, I just wanted to let you know that I really enjoyed the wrinkles in your knee on your jeans when you lifted your leg up. You think you could send me some pictures like that with those same jeans?"
My
He's
leg.
like, I'll pay you a couple $100 or whatever. I'm like, or like $100. I'm like, all right, cool, $100. Like, hell yeah, I'll take some pictures.
What the fuck?
Let's take the pictures, and he's like, do you think you could wear those jeans like a few more times without washing them? And he's like, and then I can buy them off of you for like $300.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm like,
What the fuck?
yeah, I'm like, these are dirty work jeans, you know? I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, yeah, I'll do that. I'll send them to you for $300, sure. Send them to him. This dude messages me 2 weeks later.
So, dude, not a chick.
No, dude. Oh, most of my, I would say my fan base on like OnlyFans is 30% women, 70%
Really?
gay. Yeah, 70% gays.
Shit.
Yeah.
And that doesn't like turn you off away from like doing it, or just like,
no, dude.
or just like, yeah, whatever.
I learned to like grow to love the gay community, dude. Like there's some fucking cool people out there. There's some fucking weirdos, but there's some cool people, and I've grew to respect a lot of the fetishes and stuff and desires. Like, you know, like people who just have their, you don't know what they went through their childhood to end up getting there. You know, like, but this guy messaged me like 2 weeks later and sends me a picture of my jeans, dirty still, wrapped around his pillow, using it as a pillowcase.
What the
What?
fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
What was your first reaction? We're just like, what'd you tell him?
I was kind of cool, bro. Yeah. I was kind of like
Cool, you
weirded out. I was
one?
like, what the fuck, dude? Who am I talking
I
to?
have like 5 more jeans, bro. I don't know if you're interested.
Yeah,
I see the pillows were empty. I got you.
Yeah, so that's like the start of it. I was like, okay, there's some money to be made in like any route here. Another thing, like there's like a few people that have like a fetish on what is it? They're like farting or like shit or pissing, you know, like for a little while there, for like a month there straight, people were paying me like $50 a fart and like $100 for me recording like taking a shit in the morning or like
What?
yeah. So like a month straight, I was like every morning recording myself taking a shit, or like every time I'd have a fart, be like, oh, you know, pull out my phone. Eventually I was like,
like a little video of it.
yeah, and I was like, you know, this is weird, dude. I was like, okay, I'm making money on it, but this is fucking weird. I was like, I can't. I was like, you're just starting to make me feel weird about it, you know? I'm making money, but then I was like, I'm tired of having like a camera roll full of me farting and taking shits, you know? So I stopped doing that. Like that's another thing. I met people that are like into, like people asking me to, like I might have my puppy at this time. People are asking me to do shit with my dog, and I'm like,
Really?
What the yeah.
What?
So like, that's weird. You know, like that was too. Like there's some people where I had to draw the line on some people. You know, and
Yeah,
like
dude,
shut the fuck up. You know, like you're crossing boundaries. Like I understand some things, but like that, you're going too far. But
Like get the jar of peanut butter and fucking your dog.
yeah,
is,
dude.
So
it's
that like
fucking
kind of made you
people.
like kind of push OnlyFans a little bit back?
You know, yes. Eventually, you start getting people too where they're like, they feel like I owe them something. You know, like just starting to dog on me and treat me like I'm a piece of meat, which I can understand why if I'm just throwing myself out there like that. But some of these people, like, I'm like, fuck you. You know, like, there's some really cool people that I have on OnlyFans that are very supportive. I've actually even given a few people my number, and I still message them, like, text them to this day, you know, like, as regular people, you know, like, they're pretty cool. And then you have the other people that I'm like, go fuck yourself, you know, like, I don't, you know, they're just horrible people, you know. Like I get the messages you see the messages that I get during the day, like some of them is like, what the hell? And what's funny is one of my clients now that I'm training in person knew me on OnlyFans and Instagram when I started working at this gym. And he's like, dude, I saw you at this gym. He's like, you think I could say hi? I was like, as long as you don't bring up OnlyFans, you're not weird about it. And I was like, and you start training with me? Yeah, you can say hi. Yeah. And so he comes up, and this dude's cool, dude. Like, he's been one of my oldest clients yet now, and he's like, dude, I like this guy. Like, him and I, every time I train him, I'm like, we have a great conversation, things are good. But if I post something online and I get these weird messages from these people, that dude will send me the same message. You know what I mean? So, like, that kind of opened up my mind to, that's why I'm like a little bit more respectful. Like, okay, I don't know who I'm talking to. Yeah, they may have this keyboard warrior effect where they want to say some pretty raunchy shit or some weird shit, you know, on online, but this guy will say the same thing, and I like this guy in person. So maybe these other people are saying some weird things. Maybe I like them too. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, some weird fetishes, dude. Like I said, farts, jeans. People, I haven't bought in. Like, I was gifting many shoes, many underwear. Like, I don't have to pay for shit. My dog was bought for. My emotional support animal. Yeah, my puppy after a heart attack was paid for. My surgery, not my first surgery, but my second surgery was paid for because I started getting gyno back again. Okay. So I got it like just recently. I just got it cut out like a couple months ago. Not because I'm on gear again. I can't take it because of my heart attack, but just because my body's messed up. So through hormones and stuff, which I'm trying to get on track with my homeopathic doctor, which I can go into if you want me to on that too. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. A lot of shit was paid for, and it's just a cool experience. But now I'm just trying to get out of it. You know.
Well, what does your fiance think about all this?
Well, dude, she started dating me when I was deep into it, so it's not like she had a big say.
So she's kind of like used to it. She's like, if that's what you want to do, go for it. I'm not gonna like keep you from doing it.
Well, because like my take, like kind of like on it, like people can say like I'm hating because I'm not fit to be a fucking on OnlyFans, but like with a lot of people I see, like if that's the way you got like known, cool. My thing's like, maybe because I'm more business minded, but like try to change it up a little bit and turn it into a brand and like get away from this and do this. Yeah. Like kind of like what you're doing now. Like
like I'm for the past. So I was making when I was advertising my OnlyFans and stuff, I was making anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000 a month. As soon as like with Serena and I's relationship, I actually started taking, you know, I had that after my heart attack. I had that fucking mentality. Let's live life every day like it's last, because I don't know when my last day is gonna be. You know, that scared me. I was like, that day could have been my last. So I'm like, okay, let's just do everything on my own.
You have to go get that other one, or
yeah. But I was trying to do everything on my own to, you know, I was like, our relationship's going good, so I'm like, let's just drift away from the OnlyFans.
Just want to run it.
But yeah, so I'm sorry, like this relationship's going off really well to the point where I asked this girl to fucking marry me, and after that, I'm like, okay, maybe I do have a life in the future that I need to start, you know, saving up for, because I was bad with my money, dude. I made all this money, and they're like, okay, why don't you have a house? Why don't you have a fancy ass car then? You know, I'm like, because I blew it. You know, I went from this guy that didn't have any money ever, like at all, struggling his ass off, went through addiction and everything, to making big bank. Yeah. You know, I'm like, so everything, like my $3,000 couch, I was buying silverware that was hundreds of dollars. You know, like everything's just like nice. Yeah. You know, so I was just like, champagne tastes like crazy, so I just blew it all. A bunch of dates, a bunch of trips, a bunch of photo shoots. But I was just like, you know, now I have this life, and I want to have this marriage and this family, so let's drift away from OnlyFans. You know, so I stopped advertising it as much, and yeah. So.
But you do a lot of like personal training and stuff. No?
Yeah, so that's what, like, we go to the branding, right? So that's for the past like year, I've been trying to rebrand myself, because I don't want to be in this OnlyFans career anymore. The money's great, the freedom's great. It's just the mentality people have with OnlyFans. You know, like some people look at it and they say, so, you know, like it's 2023, like who cares as long as you're making money. Yeah, but in my own opinion, like it's just not professional. Like you said, business related. It's just not really a professional. It's like I feel like a porn star or something. You know, like it's. I want to do something that like I can tell my family, or I can tell like, you know, anybody that's hired. You know, somebody that I have respect for, and they'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, hell yeah, you did it on there, like with that. You know, I can tell somebody that's our age. Hell, I made a bunch of money on OnlyFans, and people are gonna be like,
cool,
fuck yeah, dude, that's awesome. You know, like okay, but. In a professional, like I'm trying to get sponsorships, or I'm trying to build a brand that's like fitness. And you look at bodybuilding, and then you can go back 20, 30 years, and that's always been in bodybuilding. To support, bodybuilding's expensive. The way you have to eat, the supplements you have to take, the gym memberships, everything you have to do to become a bodybuilder is so fucking expensive. So what did everybody do back in the day, you know, and still now, is they sell their body. You know what I mean? Like, they look good. And who has money? Gay people, more than likely. Because they don't have wives, they don't have kids to spend it on. So they were the ones that actually, the gay community is actually one of the biggest supportive communities for the bodybuilding industry. And that's because, you know, they worship and they muscle worship. Back in the 80s or whatever, you can look at documentaries and stuff, and they'd pay people to like wrestle and get oiled up and like put on shows. So fast forward 20, 30 years, OnlyFans is that. You know what I mean? Like,
just more publicized.
Just more publicized, yeah. So it's just like another way of showing your body off to help, you know. Like Kai Green, you don't know if you know who Kai Green is. Yeah, dude, he was having trouble winning the Olympia, and he was getting a hard time because he was doing like porn in a way, you know, like he was recording himself doing some weird shit, and like so now. And that stuck with him. I mean, now he's successful. So like, it definitely. I'm not like ashamed of doing OnlyFans, and I'm like, if I have to keep it, cool, whatever. But if I can get away from it, right on. If I can brand myself with OnlyFans and make something else out of it, I would do that too. Because why not? Extra money, right? Extra money is always great. But it's just people now. Some people like. Especially in the upper industries, like, no, you're not going to do that. Like, I couldn't go, right now, honestly, with my following, my look and everything, I could probably go in and do a movie. You know, like, I've gotten a lot of, like, casting deals, but more than likely, if I follow through with it, not going to happen, because I have shit all over the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So at the end of the day, when they want to keep it a little bit more professional, that's where you can kind of come back and bite you.
They don't want me being a superhero on a Marvel movie and then being like, oh, but this guy has his dick on the internet.
Yeah.
You know? Like, yeah. So one of my
the thing is those prices if that happens.
Yeah. So one of the guys when I was getting these TV deals and I was kind of blowing up on Instagram. There's this other kid that was blowing up on Instagram too, and we kind of talked a little bit on Instagram, and I ended up seeing on Love Island that guy that I was talking to actually got on. I was like, oh fuck yeah, dude! I was doing the interview for that too. I was like, congrats, dude! I'm glad you got on.
That's cool. 3
weeks later, I get a message in my inbox. I wake up to a message in my inbox, and it's that dude sucking another guy's dick, dude. Like a screenshot of it. And so this guy was doing gay porn in Cali. You know, before when I did this interview for Love Island, like they asked me if I had an OnlyFans and if I did anything. I said no, right? But like, and they're like, is there any risk of like leaking pictures? And all in my head, I'm like, okay, all these nudes I sent out in high school and all that. I'm like, shit.
Start going to that.
Yeah, I'm like, shit. I'm like, but no. I'm like, no, you should be good. So they're like really strict on that. So when that popped up, like somebody took a screenshot and sent it out to all his followers. You know, everybody that he's following, he sent that screenshot out. And this dude got kicked off the fucking Love Island show because he was...
What?
I was like, you guys were worried about a little picture of me getting leaked, and this guy was full-blown doing porn, you know? You know, how'd you not find that out? How'd you get away with that, you know? But, like, that shows you right there that he couldn't continue that show because...
Stuff you've done.
Because of the stuff he's done, you know? So that kind of, like, that worries me. You know, I'm like, damn, I've done shit that maybe he's going to stick around forever. guaranteed 110% there are pictures and videos of me in other people's phones out there, you know, that they can send out to anyone at any time. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
I actually just found my client that I was telling you about, that's gay, that I found, showed me, we were doing a session. He was like, oh yeah, you ever heard of LPSG, Large Penis Support Group? I was like, yeah, I've heard about it a little bit. I was like, I know I have a little case on there. And he's like, oh yeah, but you have like tons of pictures. And this was like recent stuff, like within the past like 4 months. And I'm like, I look and there's like all my shit just leaked.
Of you?
Yeah.
And you didn't even know about this shit?
No, I didn't know. I'm like, what? He's like showing me on my session. I'm like, oh, I'm getting pissed. I'm like, this is my money people are fucking with. That's like, no wonder people
So I was
aren't
gonna tell you, like,
subscribed.
where the fuck are my royalties?
Yeah, so I went on there and I got it all taken down now. So if you guys trying to go find it, like, you guys are not gonna find it. But yeah, like so that just shows you that it's gonna get leaked. It's probably out there somewhere else on another site that I don't know about. But you know, it's just like that sucks. It sucks. I'm trying to rebrand myself, and like I said earlier off camera, I was like, Matthew McConaughey, that's who it was. That Calm app. I have that Calm app, and I was like, I listen to that when I'm doing my cardio sometimes, and I was listening to Matthew McConaughey, and he had something that like really stuck out to me, and he was like, that really like felt like he was talking to me about it. And he's like, if you can't rebrand, unbrand. You know what I mean? And that just like that hit. I really want to be, you know, like somebody else. So maybe.
Have you read his book?
Dude, no, but have you?
Yeah, I have.
Dude, is it good?
Yeah, it's good.
Because I want to. I was thinking about picking that up here soon. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was kind of talking deep into that book. So I was like, I'll probably have to do that. But yeah, so to let go of even right now, not advertising it, not really trying to throw a lot out there. I'm still making, you know, $3,000 to $5,000 a month on that. So you tell me, would you throw away for $3,000 to $5,000 a month?
Fuck no.
And take the risk? But like, and it's not like, so if it was guaranteed in the future, being like, yeah, here in like a year, you're going to blow up on this and this is going to pay you out. Mm-hmm. Cool. I'll drop it right now. But just to be like, okay,
you got to keep your options open.
Yeah, but right now I'm getting rid of $3,000 to $5,000 of my income, which is most of where that's where most of my income comes from. Or at least half of it. Like, just imagine getting rid of half your fucking income that you're used to making. You know, I have this lifestyle now that I'm used to living, which is champagne taste, and I can't do a champagne taste on a beer budget. You know, yeah. So like.
Yeah, no, that's something that we talked about a few weeks ago, that I was saying, like, to a certain point, like, we kind of build our own prisons because like of that. Like, we get used to a lifestyle. Me, before I left my job, I was making fucking easily over 6 figures.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
And like, to leave that to go do something else, it's not fucking easy.
Dude, no.
But you have to be able to like stack up for a time okay, I'll be good for 6 months. Mm-hmm. Let's do this. Yep. But I mean, per my personal opinion, like, with the fucking following you got, dude, you start slamming shit out there. Yeah. Like, dude, you can easily rebrand yourself on something.
If I sat down for hours on end throughout the day, messaging all my fucking fans and being like, hey, this personal trainer, or like trying to sell clothing or selling some kind of product or something, I'm probably sure I'd be rich. It's just having to take the time to do it, you know? Yeah. And then I got used to this easy lifestyle where I didn't have to do anything. You know, I didn't have to work that hard for a lot of money. So it's really hard for me to be like, okay, let's sit down and like put this to use. But I'm slowly, I don't know, it's taking me a while to like get in that mindset, but I'm slowly transitioning into like, okay, this is what I need to do, this is how I'm gonna do it. So I'm getting this vision built up right now, and so I'm leaving Colorado and I'm moving to Las Vegas, and I have this like set, my fiance now is gonna be making a decent amount of money. You know, I was paying for both of us for the most part throughout our lives, so now she's gonna be making the most money. Maybe I'll be able to unbrand myself in Las Vegas, you know, and then that fitness is huge out there, so. And if not, sex is huge out there too, dude. So like, do both.
They're both.
Yeah, no, exactly. Do both. So if I can't, you know, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, if I unbrand, will any of these sponsorships I'll get from unbranding pay me as much as I'll make through OnlyFans? Probably not. You know, maybe later down the road. But what's really going to make me money is starting up my own business, selling my own shit. How do I get there? How can I get there quicker? Keeping my money, keeping all my income, all the sources of income that I'm making. So maybe keep it, maybe try working off of it, try building something else off of it, and just stack it all to make something different in the future. I don't know.
Yeah. So what's next for you?
What's next? That's what I said. What's next is
Move-
up in the
move to
air.
Vegas.
Yeah, move to Vegas. Still train out there. Start recording some new content. Trying to rebrand myself still. And if I fail, then it's unbranding time. And then maybe I'll have to just like for the past couple months, I've kind of kept my head under the water a little bit on social media. If I have to, maybe I'll just tank. I'll just disappear until I get to where I want to be. But if not, right now I'm still just going to try rebranding. I'm going to take this move as a sign and still do what I'm doing, but a little extra. You know what I mean? And see what I can do from there. My goal was to hit 100,000 followers on Instagram. I'm there. Let's go more. Now it's build a YouTube channel. That's what I want. I have whoever's on my YouTube right now waiting for this right here to hear my story. So maybe this is something to start it off with, kind of get a little practice in here with you guys, and then see where it goes. Takes off from there. You know what I mean?
No, that's great. No, well, we appreciate you coming on with us.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a good time.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it. It was some powerful stuff. I hope people go rewatch it, because there's a lot of
No, it was good.
A lot of
Detail,
lessons
dude.
that people can take away from this.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah,
Detailed.
very detailed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So main things: don't do drugs in high school. Don't start steroids young. Do everything smart. If you have hereditary issues, or if you decide to start doing something, get your blood work done. Stay healthy, and and then follow your dreams. If somebody tells you can't do something, that's fucking wrong. Go do it. So.
Where could people hit you up? Where's the easiest place for people to hit you up if they want more training or anything, or to be aware of you, because I'm sure you're gonna be doing some good shit here.
So my Instagram handle is I reply to a lot of people on my Instagram, Logie Drake, Logy Drake. So I have a TikTok now, but I'm like, TikTok, like I said before, is kind of just I lost
It's not that great.
I lost my motivation on that for some reason. That got old for me. But yeah, mainly my Instagram. I think I have no idea what like I said, I haven't uploaded anything to my YouTube yet. So
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that. Yeah. Let me see. I want to pull it out really quick. Listen, because I know I might rename it to Logie Drake too, just make it more
Easier.
simple.
Yeah, easier
it's
for people to find it too.
Yeah, but right now, shit. Oh yeah, there's no. It's just Logan Drake Nestor. Yeah, Logan Drake Nestor is my name on the YouTube right now. So that's where I'm sitting there. At Logan Drake Nestor 6187. Gonna definitely change that.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna definitely change
sure.
that. But yeah, so probably Logie Drake. But Logie Drake's where people want to hit me up and find me. Yep.
Sweet. No, again, appreciate you coming out here and just chatting with us. We'll put all the links down in the description for everybody to kind of click through and check you out, follow you. But guys, if you stuck around to the end, it was a little longer than usual, but I mean, it was a powerful story that we had to get in there. So appreciate it. If you stuck around to the end, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below what you think about the whole conversation we had here. Leave your thoughts on the story and all that stuff. And also make sure to subscribe to the channel. Helps out a lot if you just subscribe, like it, comment, share it around or whatever. But guys, thank you once again. And I'll leave you with the motto that we have here on the podcast, which is an act of rebellion is to question.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you, Logan.
Thank you. See you later, guys.
Yeah. Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated.